wanna be the very best, like no one ever was.
To catch them is my real test.
To train them is our cause. Oh, it's so good to be here.
The sync is terrible, but the song is awesome.
Welcome,
Very
ladies
much
and
so.
gentlemen, to the Legend Hunters official Pokecast.
And
For today, nostalgia will make all the fans today squee with glee.
20 years we've been at this.
Well,
20 years. My
technically, we didn't get Pokemon until 1998.
But this Pokemon anniversary says otherwise. We've had it for a much longer time.
Oh yes, for 20 years. God, I feel old.
Oh yes.
And
Oh,
what
yeah.
better way
A
to celebrate it?
franchise-
What better way to
Okay.
celebrate an anniversary than with pure, unadulterated nostalgia
And nerdgasming.
and nerdgasming? We can't have enough nerdgasming. We need to throw
Oh,
it all
no.
over the walls.
That's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Moosey, you
Okay,
might want to
so-
up your volume
okay.
a little bit.
So, before we go into what we're actually here for, let's talk about what we thought we were going to be doing today.
Well, why don't you take the Zero?
I'm not really sure how to put this.
So
Put it bluntly.
we were all looking forward to hearing about Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon.
Yeah,
And they announced Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon,
and that is
Exactly.
it.
and that was it.
We-
Yep, we didn't get any footage. We didn't get only get the making of it.
We only got, like-
pictures, and that was it.
We only got a few quick flashes of stuff that they were doing in development. Like, we saw the wireframe and suddenly putting on the skin of a new bird Pokemon for the new region, which looks like a woodpecker.
That would actually be cool.
We saw a new model for the Pokemon Center. We saw what it looked like to be a big giant hotel that might also be a water gym.
And we
Which
saw
looked
vehicles.
awesome.
We saw vehicles like we saw a Pokemon ambulance. We saw a fire truck that had a Blastoise on it.
That's fantastic, by the way. Also, that implies there might be fires.
Can you imagine if the ambulance vehicle is actually a portable Pokemon Center?
No. Imagine that's what comes and picks you up after you get beaten after a Pokemon battle, and that's That would the be actual
awesome.
reason why you black out. That would be pretty awesome. I actually would like it, and plus, there's already speculation of where the region might be based on, which is in Southeast Asia.
Either
Okay.
Southeast Asia or South America.
Some people even said Hawaii, Italy. I've heard Italy.
If we're doing all this shit in Venice, that would be fantastic.
Oh god, that would be beautiful.
But ultimately, this is ultimately meaningless because this is all out of the ass.
Pretty much, yeah. So
Yeah, so
we don't
any-
have any concrete details besides the little snippets that we
So-
had. So
Yeah, so anyone trying to
So-
make their freaking theory videos on this shit, like trying to figure out what the plot is, figuring out what the legendaries could be about,
have fun guessing.
have fun guessing. We'll see you when they actually announce the information. In the meantime, go shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down.
No, that would actually defeat the
Apparently,
purpose of
Gaijin
it.
Goomba must be spending like 2 videos just jerking off because that's exactly what he is. I think his past 2 videos were exactly that.
Gaijin, I respect you and all. I love the culture shit, but seriously, calm the fuck down and think about it for a moment.
Oh, I don't know. That's kind of the fun thing, like trying to figure out what's going to come next, and then going yes when it turns out you're psychic.
True.
You know.
See, this is why I like Jaywood's video. It was short, sweet, to the point. He showed what we got, and he gave a couple of
Okay,
his small
okay.
ideas.
Okay, he only had one video. One video which he thinks the plot is already spoiled.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's the big title.
So this whole podcast was supposed to be about Pokemon S&M in terms of the development of
What?
Spectrum.
Yep.
Pokemon S&M, the initialization of Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon.
Ah.
Well,
Where's
this is
the
going to
fine
be
wit?
terrible.
Yeah, Google, you might want to clean up your safe search.
M and S, please. M and S.
You know that's a disease, right?
Well, that just keeps getting better, doesn't it?
Pokemon MS. Oh god, that sounds like a horrible disease that happens to Pokemon.
We already have the Pokerus, so that's a
Dear
good thing.
God. So either way, it was a paw choice from the Pokemon Company.
Because now we've got people all over the internet saying where are the handcuffs.
Okay. Anyway.
Or where's the
People
Voltorb
were
ball
asking
gag?
that already.
Okay.
Now it's
Okay.
just public.
So all jokes aside, so instead of discussing the next Pokemon game, which in my personal opinion might be coming out on the Nintendo NX,
Ooh.
Or
and that's why we don't see any game footage.
maybe, or it could be the fact that it's still very early on in development, because
I mean, come on. When we saw X and Y, we had mega knowledge by this point. So my theory is that they're waiting to show off Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon when they release the NX at
E3.
At E3. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit late for them to announce it then, but
But I mean that was the point of this announcement. Announce that it exists. Let the phantom hype build. Then they announce it at E3 and they have things to show. And they show it alongside their new merchandise. Seriously, if the NX turned out to just be a Pokemon machine, I'd still buy it. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. And we thought we were also, for the announcement, we also thought we were going to get information on Pokemon Go or Detective Pikachu. None of that.
None of that.
It was the
No.
shortest direct I'd ever seen in my life. I literally woke up to see it, and I was like, wow, that was it? Okay, night.
Yeah, it was 6 minutes long.
I'm glad I slept in.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything. Anyway, so instead of doing that, we're going to celebrate Pokemon Day because that is what today is.
Yeah,
Today
so
is officially Pokemon Day.
if I can, I'll try to get this uploaded this evening, because we're recording it kind of late in the afternoon, but I might get it up so we could still have it on the exact day.
So we're just going to go ahead and sit around and talk about the best, the worst, the memorable, and the dreaded moments of Pokemon.
Well, you all can
Completely
sit down.
unscripted.
You all can sit around and whatnot, but I'm probably going to be standing for something a little bit later.
Well, of course, there's going to be ranting and whatnot. So
Oh yeah.
Oh, can't wait to get into that. But
The
generally,
shenanigans begin.
but the shenanigans will begin with starting with Legend, and we'll proceed down the Legend Hunters roster. Legend, what was your first Pokemon game?
My first Pokemon game was Pokemon Yellow. It was very short-lived because I lost a Game Boy and a Game Boy Advance, and then eventually the game to terrible, terrible circumstances.
Your sister?
No, my cousins.
Ouch.
And my pants. But that's a story for another day. Regardless, Pokemon Yellow was the first in my heart, and the very, very best, one of my very, very best memories was actually training a Magikarp into Gyarados.
You
Oh my gosh,
bought
that
the
took
Magikarp
forever.
from the asshole, didn't you?
And I leveled it up. It was the strongest Pokemon I ever had in that game. Next to a Nidoqueen.
Oh.
Yeah!
We've
That was
also
a
been
fun time.
recently reminded what a pain in the ass it is to grind an old
Oh
Pokemon.
God.
Surprisingly, it wasn't that bad because back in the day, training a Magikarp was actually not so bad. I actually took the Magikarp to Diglett's cave and just grinded on the Diglets there.
Really?
And it worked!
Legend, grinded on the Diglets. Is that really the phrase you want to be using?
I'm not sure where this is going, but sure, throw out that innuendo.
You do know that another nickname for Diglett is Dildo, right?
It looks like one.
Well, those few times my Magikarp actually fainted did actually mean it was fucked. Well, that's just peachy. Anywho, that's me. How about you
There's
guys?
another chunk of his childhood.
Zero?
Oh wait, it's my turn now. My first Pokemon games, well, it was Red, Blue, and Yellow. Yep, they were all my first Pokemon games.
You can't have three firsts. Which one did you pick first?
My parents got me Red and Blue at the same time. I played Blue first, though.
There you go.
But I couldn't beat it. I played Red, couldn't beat it. Waited until Yellow came out. Never beat that either. I've actually got a bit of a funny story. I don't remember if it was during my playthroughs in Yellow or if it was in Blue. My memory's a little fuzzy on that. But what happened was I was at the Elite Four. I had managed to get my way to Lance. I had whittled him down to his last Dragonite. It was a horrendous fight.
You actually got to Lance.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't say the same.
And what happened was he killed all my Pokemon except for one.
Your Venonat.
My Venonat, which I had managed somehow to keep it alive through the constant feeding of potions. And eventually, his Dragonite ran out of moves, and so did my Venonat.
So
in the-
you were stuck there just struggling to death.
And I won.
Oh,
And then I had to fight Gary motherfucking Oak.
And you gave up.
I threw the cartridge against the wall, and the thing is, I had saved right at Lance.
Smart move.
Oh, man.
So that-
And that is why you never saved in between Elite Four members back in the day.
Well,
Nowadays you can, but
Well, the thing is, wouldn't you get blacked out back to the,
to the Pokemon Center.
Yeah,
Yes.
but the fact is, I had to save, and then I would have had to fight Lance all over again.
Well, you know how. Just throw Venonat out first.
but that would have made sense. You can't have that.
Well, better. You did better than I did. I got stuck at Lavender Town because I couldn't pick up the Silph Scope. My bag was always too full, so I never picked up the Silph Scope, so I never got past Lavender Tower.
So that's why you were always stuck in Lavender Town, because you are a fucking derp.
Well, it was
No,
easy,
he just got
you
lost.
fuck.
He's just a pack rat.
Well, by now his character is long dead and hanging out with the ghost Pokemon. So
Oh, yeah, because eventually, this is a tragedy. That thing about my pants, I left the cartridge in there, and the cartridge was washed.
Oh no!
Oh, yes. Everything was wiped out on it, the battery stopped working, and from then on, I could no longer save any games on that cartridge.
Even if you were
Oh.
trying to replace the battery? But then again, you probably
We
didn't.
replaced the battery. It didn't work.
Ooh.
There were too many things fried in that game cartridge to ever
yeah,
work
you
again.
fried the
good.
chips. In
Actually,
it.
this is a bit of a side note, but somehow one day, during a water day at my mom's school, because I was a kid at her school, we had a pool day where they were throwing water balloons and stuff like that. And somehow, I don't know how this happened, I got a game cartridge in my pocket.
Oh, no.
No, it worked.
It worked. Oh, that's good.
It
was
was-
it a Game Boy Advance cartridge?
A Game Boy Color cartridge.
That is a miracle.
It was, I believe, Diddy Kong 2?
Huh.
Yeah, it was.
All right.
I don't know how that happened, but, like, seriously, the game just appeared in my pocket. Out of the ether! Either that or some kid accidentally put it in there.
Oh my god, it was like Pokemon Pockets.
Oh, yeah.
Pokemon pockets.
Yeah, the same
Oh.
pockets you have in every game.
Oh, no,
Shove
I get the
all these things in there.
Some all the things in there that just make them fit. Yeah, I get the joke now.
Well, my stuff didn't fit. That's why I couldn't beat the fucking game.
And well, to be fair, we didn't get unlimited room space until Generation 4.
True.
Because you did have a definite limit from Gen 1 to Gen 3, and that's why you could store items in the box then.
Yep. So, that's us. What about you, Leo?
Yellow was my first two, and I got as far as Lorelei before I said, nope, not gonna happen.
It's great.
And the reason for that is because I got stuck on Brock because I was playing Yellow, so I leveled my Pidgeot to level 50 to beat Brock.
Wait, you leveled up a Pidgey all the way to a Pidgeot to level 50.
To beat Brock, yes.
And you still didn't beat the game?
Well, because by that point, all the other Pokemon had sort of lagged behind the Pidgeot, and even though I was using Pidgeot for the majority of, like, the cleanup, because it was such a high level, it didn't get enough experience to, like, become uberly broken. So it was, like, level 60, and then I had a couple of level 30, level 40 Pokemon behind it. And then when I went to take on Lorelei, Ice-type shenanigans.
No, Bird Jesus, why?
And I didn't feel encouraged enough to go grind the rest of my Pokemon up because they were higher level than the Mooks in Victory Road. So it would take them a lot longer to get them all up to the same level as the Pidgeots.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh.
Leo.
So yeah, that was my story.
And I thought our derps were dumb.
Akari.
First game for me was Blue. Got into it because of the anime my friend showed me, and I asked Mom and Dad to pick me up Blue, got that. 40 hours later, I actually did manage to beat it. And
40 hours later, he had no life.
The best thing I remember I've had was it was on the final battle with Blue, and I threw up my highest level Pokemon against his highest level, which was my Venusaur and his Charizard. I managed to KO the sucker with 2 Solar Beams because I grinded it up to level 85.
Oh.
Sleep Powder, bam, it was out for most of the almost all the fight, and when it woke up, hit with the final Solar Beam, and it was gone.
Nice.
That's how I won.
But seriously, you grinded it up to level 80? What the fuck?
85.
Jesus Christ in a handbasket.
That reminds me of Silver Jolteon. He did pretty much the same thing. Only it was just the Venusaur. He had nothing else on the team. Just Venusaur, and he plowed through the rest of the game.
And that's why ever since then, every game I can find, I always pick, Venusaur on my team. I always have good luck with him.
Alright.
Well, it's a good choice, especially now that it can be such a frickin' defensive wall.
Oh.
It's now people keep saying it's the one that everyone tends to forget.
Not now.
Nope.
Yeah, everyone has to remember Venusaur or they're fucked.
Oh,
Few
yeah.
stops to an Azumarill.
Remind me to do that just in case they ever decide to fight against Silver Jolteon.
What, bring in Venusaur?
Yeah.
What do you think he has on his team?
I thought he had the freaking huge power Azumarill.
Yeah, it's not the only thing on his team. And as a matter of fact, I would say that his Mega Venusaur is just as, if not more dangerous, in the right circumstances. Have fun. Shout out to you, Silver.
Muzzy, what about you? What was your first game?
Well, the first one I played was Red, but it wasn't mine.
Oh.
So-
Really?
I kept playing my friends, and so I couldn't actually keep a save file. So eventually I got Blue, beat that, decided to get Red, beat that, and then when Yellow came out, I was like, woo! By
So-
that point, I needed a new challenge.
Isn't it ironic? I just realized, between the 5 of us, only 2 of our members have actually beaten the original Red, Blue, and Yellow.
And they're the honorary legend hunters, not the OGs.
Well,
That's sad.
Shape up.
I must fix that.
To be fair, both of you are also older than us and kind of knew what you were doing at the time.
Yeah,
Yep.
because if I recall right, I was 7.
I'm pretty sure we were all 7, 8-ish when we started playing Pokemon.
I was
Yeah.
12 or 13 when I started.
Exactly, that's kind of our point.
Yeah, I was a
You-
dumb little shit kid.
Give us the handicap at the start, and then by the end of this, we'll see who's the real Legend Hunter.
oh man.
Okay.
Dude, them
So,
fighting words.
So let's go ahead and move on. So naturally, after the first Pokemon discussion, what was the first game you played? We have to go to the natural sort of what is your sign for Pokemon, and that is what is your starter type, and then what is your favorite starter from all of the games.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Ouch.
So Zero, we'll start with you this time.
Oh, with me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm a water type user. Water types are my type. I just love using them.
And for the record, you don't have to have the answers correlate. So you can say that water is the best overall type, but a different, or say your personal favorite is a different
Well,
one.
it's my preference, although I have used both fire and grass. I'd say I've used grass more than I've used fire, though.
Right.
So, because I've never been a fan of fire types in general. So, but I would say that my favorite starter is a relatively new one. Actually, it's a kind of a tie between the two.
Well, choose one.
Oh, god damn it. You've put me on the spot.
Arbitrarily choose one, damn it.
Greninja.
Yeah, so Froakie.
Froakie.
Hallelujah.
Rookie!
Yeah, the little bubble frog that can become a freaking... become freaking Hattori Hanzo.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, second place is Samurai Oshawott.
I gotcha.
I love the samurai ninja theme. I'm a fan of the Eastern culture.
Oh my word. There's a word for that, but I'm not comfortable saying it now.
Alrighty, so
Shall I volunteer second? Or
Sure, go ahead.
alright. So, personal favorite type that I always start out with. Pokemon types.
Legend, that's not the name of the game.
I know, but the thing is, I'm proddy
You can
when it comes to
say
this.
that you have no preference. You can. That is
Yes,
an
yes,
option.
that's what I'm trying to say, damn
Then
it.
just say no preference. Don't bullshit
Well.
around the table.
Well, I like
But
to
that's what
bullshit
we
around
do.
the table. If you pass the shit around enough times, maybe the stench will pass around and everyone can be blamed for it. Anywho, I don't usually have a preferred type, mainly because whatever type happens to be working at the time, it usually fits. I like to pick Mudkips when I can get Mudkips. I like to pick Grovyle when I can get Grovyle. Regardless of whatever type I'm going with, I usually build the team around that, and my team works out. But I do actually have a favorite, and it is from Gen 6. Chestnut.
So
Chestnut was...
Chespin.
Chespin, Quilladin, and, by extension, Chestnut. I mean, come on.
God, I love that one.
He's like... it's like the Incredible Hulk of the Pokemon universe, of the grass types. You see this thing coming out onto the field, and you go, I ain't punching that shit.
Yeah,
He's
like,
punching
with your hand.
back. And
That's
he
when
had...
the Pokemon wets itself and runs.
Oh, yeah. If it's not a special attacker, you're not getting through this thing. And it's got all of the best moves that a grass type could work with. Leech Seed, Seed Bomb, you name it, and this thing could probably throw it at you.
No.
And to top it all off, its moveset was actually friggin' phenomenal. It was a juggernaut going through the main game.
Mhm.
But I do realize that it has some major shortcomings. Lackluster special defense. Its only healing move is Leech Seed for a tank. And of course, the number one thing that slows it down is its slowed down speed. So,
Oh God.
yeah, it's got some rather lackluster speed.
but if you
It kind
can
of
work,
crawls along.
it kind of does, and it doesn't have any real priority on it, which is a damn shame.
Well, keep in mind, he's basically a paladin in heavy plate armor.
Yes, and that's the best part about him. Like, I could send this guy out, and I could see him tank a Flare Blitz.
You're shitting me.
I am not. I tanked one of those fucking things, and then punched him back.
I can
It
believe
was-
it.
It was glorious. And I also, like, everything about him just screamed out to me like badass, tankiness, this awesome juggernaut. But again, he wasn't the most perfect Pokemon, and I was sad to see him go down in the ranks. I felt like there was so much more he could be, but he couldn't keep up.
No.
All right
So
then.
sad.
Won't stop me loving him.
He's still pretty underused he's still in the underused tier because of Bulletproof.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's not just wearing plate armor, he's wearing Kevlar. Holy shits. This is the thing I would prefer to keep around as a bodyguard. And as a friend.
Not to mention, he looks kind of adorable.
Kind of adorable, but at the same time, you don't want to fuck with him.
Yeah. All right
I
then.
love him. Okay, what about you, Leo?
Okay, well, it should be given that, from my personal preference that I like fire types. And unlike my two comrades here, I actually have my preferred starter is actually one that is from the middle of the Pokemon era.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say it's the Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Yep.
Yes.
Ooh, that's some spicy chicken right there.
Torchic is my preferred starter, and let me just say that it has been a pleasure to stick by this thing. Even back in Generation 3, it was incredibly well balanced. It had decent defenses, decent health, and a phenomenal offensive move pool that was both spatially and physically diverse, and it had decent speed.
That's the one I generally pick in that gen.
To be honest, Blaziken is the one that I used to beat Generation 3 for the first time.
And in all,
It's badass.
and the reason why I prefer him compared to the other fire types is that a lot of the fire types have very obvious flaws. Embar with its low speed, both Charizard and Infernape with their lower defenses, Typhlosion and Delphox with their lack of physical defense.
Well, technically, Typhlosion has the exact same stats as Charizard.
Right, but
The
I mean,
problem
it's still
is that it lacks a
it
ground
has,
type immunity.
but it doesn't have the flying or dragon subtypes that it later got.
Oh god, now I'm just thinking of what happens if Typhlosion Mega Evolves.
Oh,
But-
that would be awesome.
But
Oh,
here's
dude.
and then the Mega Evolution came for Blaziken.
Yeah.
And holy shit! Well, actually, we didn't even need the Mega Evolution because then its hidden ability came out in Gen 5,
Which
which made it broken.
Yeah, they actually put this thing in the Uber tier, and then they put it back in the Uber tier when they shifted generations.
Yeah,
be-
because...
Because then the Mega Evolution came with Speed Boost anyway.
The only way to say it is hot damn.
Oh yeah. These turkey legs are going to be flying into your face repeatedly and painfully.
Guess how I beat the Elite Four in Generation 3?
How so?
Sky Uppercut! Sky Uppercut! Sky Uppercut! Sky Uppercut! Win.
Yeah, it's funny how Pokemon has Street Fighter moves in it, and
Yeah.
yet there isn't. I think I've yet to see a Pokemon which has both Sky Uppercut and Aura Sphere on the same moveset.
Oh god, please let that be in Gen 7.
Do you
I
want to
think
beat the
Zero's
Elite Four?
drooling now.
Sure you can.
Oh.
Thanks, TFS.
Actually, I think Lucario actually does learn both moves.
No, I don't think he does learn Sky Uppercut. Because I think
Egg move.
If he can, that'd be fantastic.
Legend,
I'm look-
check your
I'm-
Pokedex.
I'm looking at it right now, guys. Don't worry about it. Akari, why don't you go ahead and continue while I look this up?
Okay, for preference. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. It's actually a balance because sometimes I'll choose water, sometimes I'll choose grass. So that's a balance between. So they're pretty equal with those.
So no preference.
No preference. No. But I'll say this: fire is the one I rarely choose, except for Generation 3 and Generation 4, which I had actually good luck with. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like with Legend. It's mostly what suits the situation.
Yeah, Lucario and Sky Uppercut via egg move, guys.
Okay.
Holy crap.
And I already mentioned this to everybody. My favorite starter of all time is Pokemon number 1 himself, Bulbasaur. Due to the memories that I've always had a good time, he's always been my comrade. He's been my strongest. Even through like some of the ones he's weak against, he's actually overpowered, as I mentioned earlier. And of course, with the future generations, I've been always managing, trying to get him onto the games, and he's been my good luck charm. And that's why whenever I get Bulbasaur, he's like the only one I nickname, and I nickname him Buddy.
Aw, that's cute.
Yep, that's even in Pokemon X, I name him Buddy, and like I said, I just thank God they made him more viable in this generation with thanks to his Mega Evolutions. So, yeah, fire users, you're fucked.
Oh, Lord.
Alrighty then, Muzi, your turn.
I had the same trouble you did.
Me?
No preference.
Yes. Well, my problem is most of the time I end up picking water, but for a couple generations it was mostly, it was fire for a couple of generations, like with Torchic, stuff like that. But it was mostly water. But the hard part was picking the starter because I had the same problem that Zero did.
Well,
I had Froakie and Oshawott.
Oh, man.
Because they're both awesome. They're both adorable, and they both become really badass.
And yet they're still adorable, even when they're badass.
Oh, the cuteness!
Samurott more than Froakie for me, though.
Alright.
All right then. So what's next on the agenda? Of...
The inverse. So for the majority of these questions, I'm going to go ahead and we have the inverse to them. So I'm just going to ignore the starter type for this next one. So I just want to hear from Akari first. Your least favorite starter.
My least favorite starter. Oh God. I'm gonna be honest here. My least favorite are I say all three Gen 2 to me are the least.
All three. Gen 2.
All Gen 2 because most of them are not really that viable, except for when Totodile becomes Ralligator, but later on. But honestly, none of their stuff's actually that memorable to me. And that's pretty much the reason why. So yeah, all three Generation 2 starters are probably my least favorite.
Ooh. That's some shots fired.
I know, Gen 2 is the most popular one of all, but I'm like, yeah, it is the one. But it's just the starters didn't do anything.
Yeah, they really didn't do anything interesting, and all of them were just the base type. They didn't really get a secondary typing.
That's true.
No.
I mean,
Well, sometimes you don't need a secondary typing just so that way. Because I mean, if you just want to arbitrarily add a second typing, you have the firefighting problem that we've been having for like the past couple of generations.
Yeah, let's see if it... And then when they decided to deviate from it,
They didn't take advantage of it.
Right. So not everything. The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Nice.
Unintended.
all right.
Okay, so that's Kari. Legend, do you want to go again?
I'll wait.
Uh,
Because I've got a long rant on this next one.
Okay,
Zero?
we'll save you for last. Let's let Muzi go.
Okay.
It was kind of a tie between Chikorita and Turtwig. I could just never really get into either one of them.
Turtwig, I will admit, is a bit tough to get into at the beginning of Generation 4.
I mean,
But-
he's not so bad later on, but at the beginning, though, you're just kind of like, yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna say that Turtwig wasn't as bad because the first gym was at least forgiving, and the second gym you could find a counter for really quickly. But so I really didn't feel any issues with Turtwig as much.
It was more of I just couldn't get into him. I mean, he wasn't horrible, but the one that I really couldn't get into, though, was Chikorita.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just jump onto yours, Muzi, if you don't have any more comments.
No, I kind of enjoyed quite a few of them, and I hate to say this, but I really, once Fennekin evolves, I just really can't get into it too much. I mean, I don't hate it. It's just not one of my favorite ones to...
Kinnykins is the best!
It's just not one of my favorites.
I mean, as far as I've always been a staunch believer of no evolution or full evolution. I've never been an in-between guy until Braxian.
Brazen.
Braixen, or however you want to pronounce it. But I've never felt a reason to stop in the middle, even with Eviolite, until I saw that evolution. So that's like one of the few ones where I say that has a visual aesthetic appearance over the fully evolved version. But yeah, I wanted to sort of jump on Muzi's line of thought because Chikorita is my least favorite starter because even though I don't pick grass types all that often, I still find viability in all the other ones, with Chikorita being, I think, the only exception. And that one is really hard to get into, especially in the classic Gold, Silver, and Crystal, just because of the fact that it does not have... Mono Grass has hardly been a good type on its own, and considering it lacks any sort of support abilities, it's really hard to press forward with this Pokemon.
Yeah.
All right then. Why don't I
Zero,
go?
you're next.
Yeah. So for my least favorite, to be honest, I actually have used all of them, and for the most part, I've beaten the games with all of them. However, I think the one that is my least favorite. How do I put this? Yeah,
Just put it
Chikorita
bluntly.
it's Chikorita as well, and Fennekin. Yeah, Yeah, I really don't have anything else to say. Chikorita and Fennekin are like the worst ones for me. I just don't like them.
Okay.
All right, I
Legend-
turn up to bat.
You've been storing up the energy for this. Your super meter is full. What is your least favorite starter Pokemon?
Let me hide behind a barrier first.
Well, it feels
No,
like
I'm good.
I felt like I was going to be unique in this regard, but no. When it comes down to it, Fennekin, 2 Braixen, 2 Delphox hurts the most. I've played through X a couple of times, and I've played with both Greninja and Chestnut, but no matter what I did, I just couldn't bring myself to even think of touching that Delphox, and not in that weird way. Get your minds out of the gutter, you fuckers.
Well, we got Pokemon and me in that generation, so
Yeah. No. No.
You brought it up.
I know, but the thing is, when it came down to it, there were so many things that I couldn't get into. We already had a fire psychic type in Victini, and Victini was amazing. Like I looked at this and I went, oh my god, this little fucker could do so many amazing things. This is fantastic.
It's
Well,
a
to be
special
fair,
dynamo.
It's
No,
not
it-
really fair to say when the Pokemon has a base 160 power move
Yes!
and has perfectly balanced stats. It's very hard to say that with a straight face and say that it's not biased.
Yes. But the other thing that Victini had was variability. He had access to moves that gave him good type coverage and the ability to nail counters.
Including legendary signatures.
Alright. But they were available to Victini.
That's like saying, well, we'll get to the legendaries in a bit, but that's like saying that.
Are you really going to defend Delphox's moves pool?
Yes, I am going to defend Delphox's move pool.
Oh, we got ourselves a proper debate, ladies and gentlemen.
Ding ding ding.
Legend, your argument.
My argument, Fire and Psychic, and only Fire and Psychic moves available to the Pokemon, makes it utterly stonewalled by Heatran. You can shut this Pokemon down with one Pokemon, and this other Pokemon will continue to set up and stop you every single time you try.
All right, Leo.
Every single time. Hang on, last point. Every single time that I've ever fought a Braixen, I have never lost.
All right then, Leo, your argument.
Okay, first off, you forgot Grass Knot and Hidden Power, just for the record.
And what are those going to do to Heatran?
We got an HP fighting. Off of a calm-minded Delphox. Secondly, you're also neglecting. There is a set run by Pimp Knight, which was a Break C install set, which in my opinion, could rival Endeavor Prankster Riolu in terms of annoyingness. Thirdly, the main reason for Delphox's downfalls come from the fact that it has a limited special move pool, whereas Victini had a enormous physical move pool along with legendary signature moves, which gave it unprecedented viability, along with the fact that it was a base 600 Pokemon and not a variable 537 like starters are. So, superior stats, ungodly move pool because it's a legendary Pokemon, and overall a much more favored move pool because of a physical type over a specialty type. But otherwise, it's still very viable, and if you know how to play with it, you can make it work. Don't blame the tool because you don't know how to use it.
True.
Oh.
But
All right,
would
like-
you still pick this tool to run through a game?
Yeah,
That's
and
what
in fact,
you will
when
ask
I first
me.
ran through, why? I ran through with with Delphox as my only starter. Aside from with my only starter because I didn't use any of the Kanto starters for that run. So I ran without a Mega my first time through the game.
All right, and what did you do whenever you came across a Houndour?
That's what I had my what was my fighting type? That wasn't a Hawlucha. It was something else. I'm trying to remember what my fighting
You
type
had
was.
to switch.
Yeah. Delphox was not going to burn. Not Delphox. Houndoom was not going to burn what I brought in, if I recall.
Yeah, but
That was the thing. If something like a Houndour could stop a Delphox, why did I have this thing on my team?
Dude, you don't bring the same thing. It would have been the same thing with an Arcanine. You don't bring in Flash Fire. That's the entire point of Flash Fire Pokemon, to bring them in on other Fire type Pokemon.
Alright, now here's my second bit of argument. Ability and signature move. Comparing the three starters, their abilities and signature moves, especially when you unlock the hidden abilities. Chestnut, bulletproof, which allows it to basically sponge attacks like Aura Sphere and Focus Blast. Greninja, Protean, which allows it to be able to change into any type that it uses the move for. If it uses Ice Beam, it becomes an Ice type. If it uses Spikes, it becomes a Ground type.
If it uses Night Slash, it becomes a Dark type.
Yes, and a pure of that type, which put it in the Uber tier. What does Delphox have again?
Magician.
And what were the effects of that again?
If you go ahead and touch an enemy with a physical type move, you go ahead and steal its item.
A physical type move on a special attacker solely to steal its item, which means that you have to give up your own item slot in order to use it!
It's a very stupid ability.
On the worst of Pokemon. And on top of that, their signature moves of all three of the X and Y generation. Spiky Shield, which is like King's Shield in that it's a protect type move, but it does damage.
Water Shuriken, which can do up to 1 to 5 hits. It's basically like a...
I would actually argue against Water Shuriken being a terribly good move because it's a physical move as opposed to a special move on a special attacker.
Fair enough.
But the fact that it's a priority multi-hit move is amazing.
There was that one mat move that he also learned as well.
Mm-hmm. But even comparing this, what does Delphox have again?
Mystic Fire, which lowers a opponent's special attack by 1.
Oh, and how powerful was this move again?
65 base power.
65 base power. So
On the same level as a Water Jet.
So instead of making it so that, it basically is making your opponent switch out to not have their special attack lowered, right?
Right.
What if it's something like a physical fighter?
Then it has a chance of. Then it has to play mind games about being will-o-wisped.
Either way, it's
Look.
It's
If
not
you want
doing
to go
favors.
ahead and debase it because it got shit moves, that's fine. You can go ahead and say that. But keep in mind that your other two Pokemon are not perfect either.
They are not. However,
Chestnut, in fact, has a lot of issues if going up against a Delphox because its signature move, Spiky Shield, doesn't proc when you use a special attack. And in fact, it's very vulnerable if you use a special attack to counter Spiky Shield.
right, and
None of Chestnut's coverage moves, to my knowledge, directly can super effectively damage Delphox, assuming it's fast enough to actually outspeed it, which it cannot.
well, there are a lot of things that I would argue, but I will say this. I was going to admit this. I know that Chestnut and Greninja are not perfect.
Yeah.
The defenses for both of them have some severe weaknesses,
Yeah.
and there's no such thing as a perfect Pokemon.
Yeah, like Greninja has just kind of really weak defenses overall.
However,
And I was going to say that it also has a coverage move issue with Dazzling Gleam, or Dazzling Gaze.
Yeah.
possibly. They're both weak to Fairy. But I will say this. If I had the choice between the three of them again and again and again, I would always pick the other two over Delphox. Because, honestly, I don't feel synergy with the Pokemon either.
Alright.
I don't
that's
feel
fair.
it. I
Okay.
never felt it. And I probably never will unless they revamp revamp the Pokemon itself.
And you know they can always just switch out the moves. They've done that before in the past. So
If they do, I might give it another shot. But honestly, I'm
honestly,
not a fan.
Chikorita seems to be the worst off Pokemon here, and compared to Fennekin or even Turtwig.
And I will admit as well, Chikorita's not one of my favorites either. I actually had nightmares because of Meganium due to the fact that I was stonewalled in my original playthrough of Crystal.
Seriously, man?
Yeah, I only had Feraligatr. No one else. It was just HM slaves and Feraligatr.
I managed to train my... I don't remember... Yeah, I trained my For alligator tail, learned ice bye.
That was not possible.
Wait, I'm
for-
sorry. It was
Ice punch.
Ice punch, thank you.
That was a TM move. I don't
Yeah.
think it learned Ice Punch.
Although I did get stalked by the rival in Bugsy's town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We'll get
yeah.
to those topics later on. Muzi, let's start off with you for this one because I think you would enjoy this one the most. What's your favorite evolution?
Oh, good lord, you would do this to me.
yes, we will.
But I have too many.
Well, you have to pick your most favoriteest one.
Grumpy Eevee wants to know. Come on, Muzi.
But I love them all.
Okay, but you have to pick one. One has to be placed on the pedestal.
Come on.
Even if the pedestal's only 2 feet off the ground. Or 2 inches off the ground.
I know I use Espeon a lot.
But is that your favorite?
That's my problem. I have too many favorites for Eevee.
Well, you can pick the E, all of the above.
No, you can't. It has to be one.
Well, we've been doing multiple ones where we don't have a
I was
preference.
saying, like,
Eva.
I was going to actually just say, you can just say Eevee.
There you go, because then, it can turn into any of them.
Grumpy
there you
Eevee is
go.
pleased.
Okay, Zero, do you have a more conclusive answer?
My favorite evolution, Vaporeon. Because it's one hell of a defensive tank. A great baton passer, water absorb.
Problem is, though, is they all have their perks. To a
Yeah.
certain degree.
But I think, like, we all would have a preference leaning one way or the other.
Yeah, like, if Umbreon was a bit more viable, it would probably be my favorite. But I'm kind of going on both aesthetics and viability, and honestly, Vaporeon is my favorite.
All right.
That was the one I picked the most in the original gen, so.
Kari, you want to go next?
This one actually changed a bit. It was Jolteon for the longest time. That is until a certain fairy type popped in Generation 6.
Ooh.
My
Yeah.
favorite is Sylveon.
Oh god, yeah. Hyper voice, pixelate.
I just had a really good time with Sylveon. I just annihilated a lot with it, and I just found it very viable and useful. I mean, I was kind of skeptical at first when they were introducing this new fairy type, but at least with the thing where it can actually counter dragons. But other than that, I just enjoyed it too much. Plus, it's just the most adorable looking ever, besides the original, the original form.
Yeah, it is pretty damn cute.
All right.
Alright then, Legend, why don't you give yours?
I'll pass for a little bit. I'm still thinking of mine.
God damn.
Okay.
Leo.
Mine is, it's actually funny that you mentioned Vaporeon because I for the longest time, I would have said Vaporeon, even though if they would make some of the move change, there was a hack in Generation 4 where you could give you can give Eevee any sort of moveset because of a mimic glitch, and so it was possible to give Flareon, Flare Blitz, Earthquake, and a bunch of Charizard's moveset, basically. and basically alleviate the problem of Game Freak gimping it. But until they actually do that, I can't really qualify Flareon. And so for me, Vaporeon was my favorite form for the longest time. Until I started going back and replaying Generation 4. And I actually started using Umbreon a lot more. Which is different for me because I'm normally a offensive team user. I go between offensively inclined teams and balanced teams. And so going to Umbreon, which is a much more stall-oriented Pokemon, is a bit different. But I found it to be very useful because of its high defenses and ability to pass wishes, which made it a very good support Pokemon.
All right.
Alright,
And even then, as like my second runner-up, I gotta say Leafeon because it does a similar role and has a more offensively. It's a very tanky grass-type Pokemon, and yet it still has some decent speed behind it. So it's actually rather interesting to see how that works.
All right then.
All right.
Mhm.
Well, I've gotten a lot of reason to like many of the different types of Eevee. I've used Vaporeon. It was one of the first Pokemon I ever learned to Eevee train. Ha 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 ha. Eevee train and Eevee. But besides that, Vaporeon isn't necessarily my favorite of the evolutions. In terms of aesthetics and whatnot, I always found myself drawn to, well, Espeon. And I always liked Leafeon and Glaceon. Not because of their moveset or aesthetics or whatnot, but because of what their potential could be. Fantastic special attack on Glaceon. Fantastic physical attack on Leafeon. I would love to see more of these guys. But it also feels like Nintendo's always forgetting someone. And for the longest time, this poor little bugger didn't even get Flare Blitz. But it's the cutest of them all. I can't help it. I'm rooting for Flareon.
Well, it did finally learn it, so.
Just in
It's
time
so
for it.
floofy!
It is.
It is
Just
very
in time for it to be outclassed altogether. It's like finally getting the Master Sword, only to realize that you broke it off the pedestal as opposed to drew it out. Fuck. Poor Flareon.
Yeah, I mean, again, if they gave it Earthquake I think it would be much more viable. But again, that's I think the only complaint, and they gave it Flare Blitz way too late in the game's life cycle.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah.
All right, another Eevee-related question. What evolution would you like to see in Generation 7?
Ghost. I would love to see a ghostly Eevee.
Everyone else?
Either a ghost or a dragon.
Oh, Dragon Eevee.
Drakeon?
Dragon.
No, it would be Dragion. Dragon.
Drakeon.
What would you call a ghosty evolution?
Spooky
Spirion.
Spirion?
That was about what I was gonna say.
Mummion?
Zero. What's your proposed evolution?
Either dragon or, oddly enough, bug type.
A bug type Eevee? I could just imagine a little thing with
Ooh,
feelers.
steel.
Oh, a
Ooh.
steel type Eevee. Isn't that
Hey,
Aaron?
what like one or two answers per person, guys. Don't start claiming multiples of them.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. There's a lot of types I would love to see.
I mean, yes, but I mean, like, I wanted to, like, it should only be like you want this one. Like, let's not window shop, because then we can always say, ooh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Pick one.
Pick one and stick to it.
Well, I'm
Yes.
sticking to mine. I'm just saying
Okay.
those are awesome ideas too.
Okay, Zero, you'd stick, if you had to choose one between Dragon and Bug, assuming they only put one in again.
Dragon.
Dragon, Muzi?
Dragon.
Okay, both of you guys Dragon. Akari, what about you? Akari?
I would say dragon as well.
Okay,
Okay.
I thought we had glitched out there for a second.
No, for some reason my headset turned off.
Okay.
Don't turn
Well-
your headset off, man.
Well,
No, it turned on automatically.
Oh.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and say put everyone's expectations aside. I'd rather see a normal type evolution.
That could be very interesting. Like, a fully fledged, true evolution that isn't elemental.
A purebred evolution, if you would.
One that isn't evolved through other
Be-
means.
because the whole thing about the evolutions is they all use a sort of preset template for the stats, and it's all a permutation of 130, 110, 90, and like 70, 60, 60, something like that.
Something like that.
So I'd like to see, like, okay, so that's the aggregated, like, distributed stat pool. What's the average when we just make that just a better Eevee?
That's an interesting idea, I'll say that much.
So I would rather see that, and I like to see the potential that could do, and I would think that it could get more moves behind it. I think that what the other ones make up for what this Eevee what this evolution would lack in diversity or lack in specialization would make up in diversity.
So, like, it would probably have a move pool akin close to almost Mew, practically.
Something like Mew, where it's nigh infinite or close to infinite, but it kind of like, think of it like a better Smeargle in a sense, in that it can learn almost anything, and it just is a matter of what you want it to do.
Oh god, that would be one hell of a versatile Pokemon.
Exactly, and that's why I think that it would be much better than any other evolution possible.
Well, that's certainly an interesting idea.
Yeah. Okay, so in the first games we decided, in the first games when we looked at the boxes and we made our decisions, it was on the cover for the most part between red and blue when it came down to it, which one we started with first. But afterwards they started going with the legendaries on the covers.
Yep.
As well as ones that weren't necessarily on the cover that we later found out either through word of mouth or through announcements. So the question is, what is your favorite legendary? And that's including anything that would be considered one-all catch is considered legendary by the material, and the hidden legendaries that don't necessarily count for the Pokédex completion score.
Ooh, that's a good one. Mind if I start this round?
Certainly, go ahead.
I mean, my name is Legend Hunter, damn it.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're supposed to be the one hunting the legendaries.
Well, there was one legendary that did always strike me as like this fantastic creature. It was based off of like eldritch lore, like this Pokemon, just by being near it, would cause all kinds of havoc.
Giratina.
Oh no.
Oh, no, I know where
No.
you're going.
Oh.
And it had its own lore going behind it. It's like it only appeared on nights where the moon did not shine.
Oh,
It lived on an island that no one could reach outside of breaking reality itself. It was a Pokemon that was so broken that it caused damage to you just by putting you to sleep. And of course, to cap it all off, in the anime, one of the few good moments in there, they had this legendary go up against two gods of space and time, put up with both of them, and proceed to pull off one of the most badass, near Batman levels of badassery in the history of the anime's movies. Darkrai.
Yep.
He's fucking Batman the Pokemon. What's not to love?
Yeah, that's a really good choice, Legend. Not to mention the fact that it also knows Palkia's special move, Spatial Rend.
Oh, yeah, because we don't have enough broken shit on this thing. And on top of that, it's either good or evil based on the lore that it's coming from, or neutral. In the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, it could actually be a villain.
Oh yeah, wasn't he the true final boss of
Spoilers.
Spoilers, or wasn't he the true final boss of Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky? Yay.
Well, he was. But there was another side to him. His loyalty as a party member. Once you actually recruited him, which was balls hard, he was the single most loyal and faithful companion out of every single other Pokemon in the game.
Even your own partner?
Even your own partner. How about that?
Damn.
Alright, Muzi, you got an option for us?
Oh, for years I would just bounce between Suicune and Lugia. And then out of nowhere came Xerneas.
Xerneas.
The Rainbow
The
Deer.
fairy deer.
The Fae folk are among us!
Well, because at first everybody's like, oh yeah, Yavaddle's gonna be the best one, and then you play them and it's like, wait a minute.
They have...
Yeah, we kind of got gypped in Y because of that.
Yeah, because Xerneas and Eevee both have the exact same fucking stats, and when you look at Eevee's stats, it's basically a beefed up Honchkrow.
Which isn't a bad thing, but...
It's not a bad thing, but we have a Honchkrow.
Well, Honchkroll is still inferior, and the signature move is pretty badass. But compared to Xerneas, who has a super buff,
Geomancy?
yeah,
Well, Geomancy is a problem if you don't have something like a Power Herb on, but the problem was not the move pool, but its typing.
Pure Fairy.
yeah,
yeah.
Pure Fairy.
Fairy shook up the entire metagame, and you just threw an Uber-type Fairy Pokemon into a field of dragons. It's lunchtime.
What are you gonna do? Xerneas runs wild on you.
Exactly! And then throw behind that a one-turn buff, thanks to Power Herb, that ups its special attack, special defense, and speed by 2 stages. Run!
Yeah!
Run!
Power Herb Geomancy makes Xerneas a freaking god, practically.
Yeah.
Right to God, even an Arceus with a Dragon Plate's scared of this thing.
Well,
Especially with a Dragon Plate.
Especially with the Dragon Plate, but with a Steel Plate, I'm pretty sure it would fare better.
Oh yeah, of course.
But yeah, Zero, you want to take the next spot?
Oh darn it, you put me on the spot. I was listening to you guys so much I wasn't thinking of my own. Come back to me in a moment, damn it.
Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll take the next one then. Really, it was kind of different because I always had ones for every generation. I love all 3 of the birds from Generation 1, and it was a tie between Suicune and Ho-Oh for Generation 2. Generation 3, I really wasn't too fond of the legendaries. Gen 4, I gotta say, I did really like Giratina. Gen 5, though, probably is the most memorable of the legendaries to me, and it has my favorite legendary. Because as far as like storytelling goes, and just to kind of jump ahead, I think like Black and White had the best storytelling period of any of the Pokemon games.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that goes down to to my favorite legendary, because the symbolism is so strong here that I just feel like it absolutely resonates with the audience on a deep philosophical scale. So for me, my favorite legendary has to be Zekrom.
Zekrom.
And I know that there were not really complaints, but there was a lot of saying like between the two, Reshiram was the superior one. But on all fairness, I thought that the dragon type was more unique, and I felt that a physical dragon as opposed to special dragon I'm always more appealed to that.
Oh yeah, and when Zekrom came out, he scared the shit out of the current metagame. Thinking about it, what was the most powerful Pokemon that everyone had on their Uber team?
Arceus?
Nope, Kyogre.
Oh, Kyogre.
Kyogre could one-shot a lot of Pokemon just by using Water Spout and the choice specs.
Yeah, either that or it's Thunder.
Mm-hmm. So what happens if you throw in a Pokemon that is slightly faster than Kyogre and hits it on its weaker physical defense with a physical lightning-based earthquake attack? Holy shit!
Now, the special abilities, the Terror Volt ability doesn't have as much work to use off of, because there are not that many competitive, high-level competitive Motor Drive or Lightning Rod Pokemon.
Right.
But the few that do are going to go ahead and get their butts whooped, because this thing's going to be able to power through it on a switch hit.
Power through it, you say?
Yeah. The voltage is going to go off the scale.
Sparks will fly.
1.21 gigawatts!
And compared to, and unlike when Reshiram does the same thing, when Reshiram does it, most Pokemon most of them absorb a special attack boost, for which they're not going to get a chance to do. With Zekrom, he's negating a speed boost, which can be very important in some plays.
Very true.
So I feel like, for me, Zekrom is my favorite legendary.
I gotcha.
Okay, Akari, you want to go?
Oh, legendary. Originally, I was gonna say Kyogre in my mind, but I gotta go with the one I feel the most connected with, which is Mewtwo from the first gen. Because out of ones, I think to me he was probably the most mysterious. He he had the most mystery around him at the time. And to think that your reward for beating the game is like, oh, you gotta go catch this one now. It's in this cave over here in Cerulean, and just to find out it's this Pokemon that's just sitting in a cave, just being what it is. It's just fun. I don't know why, but something about it. It's just wow.
You've beat the game. Here's this badass Pokemon.
Yeah, it's badass, and not to mention with the fact when they reintroduced them in Gen 6, I lost my shit because I'm like, okay, Gen 6, you are literally teasing me.
He squeaked at volumes that we're not sure he was ever capable of before.
And then the fact they gave him 2 different alternate forms, depending on the game you got, made it even more worthwhile.
Yeah, also, his music in Generation 6 was a remix of the original one that had the classic music weaved into it.
Oh, heck yes. So yeah, Mewtwo would be my all-time favorite legendary.
And for good reason.
Alright, so now it's finally my turn.
Have at it.
So, with me, it's kind of interesting. I've always been a fan of the Pokemon that kind of with the third game. The third Pokemon that was always introduced was always my favorite. Even though with Crystal version it was Suicune. But Rayquaza in Generation 3 was amazing to me. Just the fact that it appeared. Not to mention, I really did like the aesthetic of the Weather Trio, just because of the way that their markings would glow and stuff like that. But honestly, I'm going to have to say this. My favorite of them would have to be Giratina.
So,
Devon.
all hail Giratina, the Antichrist.
Well, it's not just that. It's mostly from the manga, from the games. It was one of the most bizarre and strangely alluring Pokemon to me.
Alluring, you say?
Yeah, I mean, it was a dragon ghost. I had never seen that typing before. The typing itself just fascinated me, for starters.
Yes.
The look of it, it was like the other 2 legendaries of Generation 4, but at the same time, it felt completely alien. And then when Platinum came out and it got the origin form, I was like, holy shit!
You just turned a badass Pokemon into something even more badass.
With the Greasiest Orb, it learned Earthquake. It got Levitate and was immune to Earthquake. And it was just an amazing thing to use. I wanted to use it on my team for the longest time. That was back before I got my whole no Ubers on my teams thing. Yeah, but Giratina is honestly, it's creepy. The game Platinum itself is still one of the creepiest games in the Pokemon series to me, in all honesty. Not to mention that its battle theme is just horrendously horrifying,
and yet chaotically wonderful.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
Alright, so
Ghost type for the win.
we've all experienced the highs and the greatness of glory. Now we have to return and look at the sadder part of life.
Uh-oh. What's it this
So,
time?
give us your least favorite legendary, starting with Makari.
Least favorite legendary? Ay. This is gonna be a tough one because I like, but I think the one.
This includes any of like the trios or the sprites, any of the lesser. Those ones as well count for this list too.
I gotta say the Reggies.
The Reggies as a cumulative?
Yeah, all of them.
Okay.
Ice, Steel, Rock, and Gigas?
Yeah, they're all freaking pain in the butt to catch.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and admit it. I still haven't caught them in Generation 3 because of the bullshit requirements for them.
That's the reason why.
Yeah, having to decode the Braille, then having a Relicanth and a Whale Lord in your party.
I will defend the Reggies because of the bullshit that I had to go through in order to get all 3. That was badass. It felt like I was being an archaeologist.
Uncovering an ancient ruins, discovering the ancient homunculi.
Right. But I will agree with Akari, they were bullshit to catch.
Yeah,
obnoxiously low catch rates, as well as a very, very punishing move set and move pool that made them super powerful on one hand, or super weak on others.
Yeah, let's see, I forgot. How bad was Reggie Ice, technically?
Not so bad. He was the coolest one of the trio.
God damn it, Legend.
And gotta admit, Reggie Rock rocked my socks. The Will of Steel was never stronger. So, don't get me wrong, I hated catching them. But finding them was cool.
Also, side note, Battle Frontier, bullshit. The Battle Pyramid had all 3 Reggies.
Do 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 doom do doom 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 doom.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, well, since you intervened, Legend, what is your least favorite legendary?
Mega Rayquaza.
Oh, yes, I know why.
Yeah.
No other legendary has ever made me stare in abject horror at the loss of a game that I used to enjoy playing online with people I never met. The moment that thing was announced, I had already seen in my mind, there you go. You just broke it. You broke a perfectly good thing. You have just given every single person on the face of the planet who doesn't know what the flying fuck they're doing a nuke. And they're all going to use it. So from that point on, I just backed away.
You backed away from the competitive circuit.
Yeah, Mega Rayquaza killed the game for me.
Really?
I remember I was there with you when we were at the McDonald's discussing this exact moment.
Yeah, I saw a light fade out from your eyes when you first mentioned that to me.
Yeah. And we're reliving that moment now.
Yeah. It's like watching your first child just do something that you'll never forgive them for.
Watching
You've
your
had,
first
you've
child
had a child zero?
watching your first child take a baby hammer and whack the nuke on the nose.
But at least for the actual true competitive circuit for like tournaments, they don't use that Pokemon.
I know. But the thing is, my practice came online.
Yeah, with like Battle Revolution, sadly.
Oh yeah, but I had a lot of fun using Battle Revolution because even then the legendaries weren't so OP that you couldn't fight them.
True.
But then you get Mega Rayquaza, which requires very specific counters, extreme preparation, and basically you have to manhandle everything that you've ever worked for just so you can be prepared to fight one.
And then you still have to deal with everything else on their team, if they bother to even have that.
Yeah, exactly. So at what point could you go online and say, okay, I'm going to have a great time? And the very first thing that they send out is, of course, Rayquaza, which immediately Mega Evolves, and you shut the game off.
Yep.
Okay, that was depressing.
You asked
Rosie, you
for
wanna
it.
jump in?
Mostly the Reggies and the forces of nature.
Oh, you're going to have to be
Forces of
specific on that
Nature,
second
which
part.
was,
The Gen.
Gen 3?
The Tornadus, Thundurus, and
Oh, okay,
Landorus.
those.
Oh yeah, those 3 were ass fucks.
Yeah.
Okay, why about the Jin specifically? We've already heard enough information about the Reggies, but why the Jin specifically?
They're just a pain in the ass.
First up, roaming legendaries.
Already bad because we've seen that with Raikou, Entei, and Suicune.
And and the original Bird Trio.
Yeah. Fuck you, Gen 6.
Number 2, Fissure. Tornado, freaking Landorus comes packing Fissure. Number 3. Well, what would we say is number 3?
You need to get both Tornadus and Thundurus in order to get Landorus.
Oh,
Okay.
right. So,
I'm gonna. Okay, can I go ahead and defend the Jin just with one quick argument?
Go
by all
ahead.
means, I already defended the trio of
Pokemon
Reggies.
Snatcher. Pokemon Snatcher.
That's true.
Pokemon Snatcher. That's true.
Pokemon Dreamcatcher, you mean?
Dreamcatcher. That's what I meant. I couldn't remember the exact name, but Pokemon Dream Snatcher.
Dream Radar.
Never
Dream
used
Radar,
that
there you
thing, though.
I did. It gives you the Therian forms of all 3.
Yep.
And then once you get all 3, you get the mirror that lets you switch them between the 2.
And you can
So-
immediately transfer them to your game.
So, I mean, if we're talking like only black and white, and which understand, I will agree with you that that is kind of BS. But once Black and White 2 came out, they kind of like, okay, this isn't as bad.
Yeah.
And especially because you could technically get all three before you start the first gym, and then just totally own Sharon with 3 legendaries off the bat.
Hey, Sharon, remember me? No? Too bad. Well, here's my payback.
Hey, Sharon, guess what? I got a Genesect.
And you're
Die.
screwed.
Actually, I think that one probably is my lead. I was originally gonna say Articuno because of the poor typing, even though I like it aesthetically, and it was the first legendary that I actually caught. But yeah, I'm actually gonna go ahead and say Genesect on this one. Genesect is my least favorite legendary, and I think part of it has to do with that. By Gen 5, they've kind of got they kind of understood for the most part how to make Pokemon competitively viable. Again, a couple of hit and misses, especially in Gen 6, but it seems like Genesect was literally the embodiment of a lack of creativity.
Really?
Because it looked like a remote control with a toy rocket launcher on its back.
To me, it actually looked like the front of a car.
Yeah, it also looked like with a car face. Its main feature is that it will fuck you over with whatever Pokemon you bring it in the first time around with download. And then to top it all off, it has the cannons, which depending on which equipped item you give it, not only boost the base power of the move, but then give it a different typing.
Yeah, between fire, water, electric, and grass, if I recall right.
I think so. I think it goes through all 4.
Yeah.
Which is really weird, and it's a Pokemon that just seems like it was meant to counter things, and rather than make something unique and interesting, they literally just created a transformer and popped it in.
Not to mention its movie was lackluster.
I didn't even see the movie.
Exactly, it was bullshit.
Didn't it have like 4 normal Genesect and 1 red one?
Yes,
Yes.
and all of them are telepathic, even though none of them are psychic types. All of them are, well, they all appear basically out of nowhere, and they're having like this existential breakdown of like trying to get back to the primeval world they came from, which is all well and good, but ultimately they don't take advantage of it. They don't show the scientists or anything of the sort.
And the worst part of it is the stats, which will give you people with OCD nightmares because it has 71 HP and 99 speed. It's like put the 1 point into HP to speed. Why do you do that? It makes no sense.
Are you one of those guys who stands there and clicks the gas pump until it's even?
Yes, I am one of those guys.
Same.
You two are weird. Okay, so now
there's a nuanced pleasure in having something only end with 0 and 5.
Yeah.
There is.
There's a nuanced pleasure to that.
Yes, but you ever feel like screaming if you don't get it?
There's always that swearing under my breath whenever I go over my .001 on the mark. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I kind of fall into that category. Zero, you're the last one on this on what I've got.
So who do you want to shit on?
Oh god, to be honest, most of the legendaries I did kind of like. Although, some of the sprites kind of irritate me.
Such as?
Manaphy.
Poor little Manaphy?
Do you know how you had to get Manaphy in the first place?
Oh, do tell, do tell.
You had to play Pokemon Ranger.
Okay. Well, that doesn't sound too bad. I like Pokemon Ranger.
You had to play through the entire game, beat it. Then you had to do a mission.
Hang on. Beat it. How do you beat it? How do you play this game?
Okay, in order to play this game, you have to basically use your stylus and try to capture a Pokemon by spinning it around, around, and around the screen
Oh, that doesn't sound too bad.
in one continuous shot, while they are
Okay.
firing constant things at you to break the line.
Oh, that just sounds perfect.
Yeah, and I think in one of the games, I actually said, fuck this, and I'm not doing it anymore because I had to capture all 3 of the legendary hamsters at once.
God.
So it was like, fuck you, fuck this shit, I'm done. But anyway, it was in the first Pokemon Ranger game where you had to beat the game, then you got the secret mission where you had to transfer the egg of a Manaphy to basically Generation 4.
Oh, that sounds already fantastic.
I believe it required a really fucking long-ass code as well. It was like all bullshit kind of code, like A5, exclamation point, semicolon, B3, whatever.
Now packing B3s and Omegas.
Yeah. And
Anyway.
as a side note, what you had... Manaphy was also required to get another pseudo-legendary Pokemon, Phione.
Oh yeah, because Manaphy is a Pokemon that can actually breed even though it's a legendary. But it doesn't even give you the benefit of an actual legendary egg.
Yeah, it gives you another Pokemon altogether, Phione. Which means it's impure.
Ugh.
Yeah, so... Not to mention that Manaphy itself, with its moveset and... Well, it's a sprite. Its stats are base 100 all over, but...
But Manaphy itself is actually a very interesting Pokemon in battle, but that would mean some good things about it, and you want to rant.
Yeah, here's the thing. My problem is with Manaphy, it's stupid to get. It is utterly bullshit to get because you need to buy another game entirely, play all the way through it to the point where you can actually get the code for the fucking egg. Then you can
Without having a breakdown.
Yeah, and trust me, that Pokemon Ranger, I nearly broke my DS by almost snapping it in half.
I would have almost
Don't do
broken it
that.
because I would have torn through the screen after having drilled a circle in it for so long.
Oh yeah, I think that was with my first DS, the old giant clunky box thing. And yeah, I actually did put a few good deep scratches in the screen with a screen protector on it.
There you go.
So yeah, fuck Manaphy. That is my least favorite legendary.
Okay.
Also, the
fair
movie it
enough.
was in sucked.
All right. So a lot of the times we have to go ahead and capture our Pokemon, but there are a very couple of few instances where we're actually given Pokemon for free, for no other reason than apparently just talking to the person or accompanying them. So, starting with Zero, well, give us the name of your favorite gift Pokemon.
My favorite gift Pokemon. Okay, technically it's the one that you're given in Diamond, Platinum, and Pearl.
Oh, damn it.
It's the egg that gives you Railu.
Damn it! I was gonna pick that one. Fuck!
Well, there's nothing stopping you from preventing it. I actually was going to pick Riolu too.
God damn it!
Dude,
Our
Riolu
favorite gift is
awesome.
freaking Bruce Lee.
No, that would be
Riolu
Hitmonlee.
is just an awesome Pokemon.
But yeah, that gift. Seriously, you get Railu. He starts off adorable as fuck.
And then he grows up, and he's badass as fuck. And you don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
when it's gonna happen. You just know, our hearts are one. We will grow together. And he just hulks out and goes Super Saiyan. It's fantastic.
Yep.
If I didn't have a fighting type or a steel type on my team before then, I do now.
Yeah, honestly, if Pokemon were real, there would be two things. There would be two Pokemon I would want. Number one would be a Raichu. Number two would be a Railu.
Railu.
Railu or Riolu? Let's set the record straight.
It's however you want to pronounce it.
I call it Railu.
I call it whatever the fuck I want.
Okay.
I call it
Legend,
Demon Puppy.
Are you gonna go contrarian on us, or are you gonna follow in the Riolu pile?
Akari?
Legend?
Yes? All right here.
I was asking Legend if he was gonna follow us into the Riolu pile.
I already have! Railu
Okay,
is one of the most famous and wonderful gift Pokemon in the game. The only thing that would top it was a Mega Lucario in Pokemon X.
Yeah, that's kind of the big thing.
Yeah, I didn't even need to do the whole friendship bond. Perfect. I can do this with you. No, here's a Lucario. No training required. Have fun with it. Beat the game with it. I don't care. Just have this Lucario.
The Lucario sees your aura and spirit and says, I like you.
I don't
And,
know.
I don't know. The Lucario from Generation 6 is more like, I'm going to follow you forever.
It's a Yandere Lucario.
Yeah, I was getting a very Tharja vibe, and I would be saying Tharja except for the fact that that Lucario is always a male.
What's the male equivalent of Tharja? Oh god, I don't want to think of it.
The closest equivalent we get to Tharja, I think, is you can either go in either direction, and you can go with romantic with Varian, or you can go creepy with Henry.
Henry's not Tharja, that's for sure. He's way too
Well,
hilarious.
In terms of the creep factor, yes, he is. In terms of the romance factor, that goes to Varian.
I think in my game I paired Henry with Tharja.
Yeah, I did too. Birds of a feather. But
Murder the blood and thunder!
oh god. But anyway, we're getting off on a completely different game tangent.
Okay, Muzi, Akari, what is your favorite gift Pokemon? Be it mystery gift or other.
Mystery gift.
Yeah, I wasn't counting those, but sure, let's toss those in there too, because you do get them for free.
Oh, God. Gift Pokemon-wise, I gotta go with the most recent addition to gift Pokemon that we got recent, which is Mew.
Mew, huh?
Oh.
Because finally, all these years of like all the secret codes, secret ways to get this Pokemon, and I'm not sure we could get it back then, but now we officially can get the most elusive Pokemon ever.
They had an event back in Gen 4.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, but you have to go all the way back to Gen 4. They haven't had a Mew event since then.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually have a little bit of a story about some of the bullshit secrets and stuff like that involving some of the sprites.
Oh, jeez.
I was a stupid kid back in the day, and I had met a kid on the playground who had a Mew on their game, and they told me some bullshit lie about how I had to get the game's times to 999,999.
Wow.
In order to get it.
That reminds me, Mew has a lot of lore behind him that was made up by other people just to screw with everyone else.
Yeah.
It was about as bad as the Mortal Kombat theories.
Oh yeah, and another one was Celebi. Was where one person told me about a glitch, or not a glitch, or like something that would happen where if you play the game for a certain amount of time in Vermilion City on the coast by some rocks, would be a way for you to go into a secret cave and get Celebi. I went to Vermilion City 1,000,000,001 times trying to get that thing to happen as a kid.
Needless to say, nothing ever did.
Right.
Right. Muzzy, favorite gift Pokemon?
Eevee.
Oh, that good. How did I miss that one?
Enough said.
All right then, moving on.
Okay.
The potential.
The
Yeah,
potential.
the potential. So we all go ahead and love. We always have the dream vacations and the dream where you'd want to live. So, what is your dream? What is your favorite region of the established Pokemon regions? Not necessarily just the main 6 games, but opening it up to the spin-off regions, the spin-off regions. So like Ore, the regions that they have for Ranger. What area is your favorite region to explore?
My favorite region to explore.
And I'm just opening the floor, so whoever wants to take it, go and take it.
Oh god, this is a tough one.
Well, one of the favorites we always keep coming back to is Hoenn.
Oh, bless Hoenn. Like,
I can say Hoenn as well.
Yeah.
though, I
Because
will say,
I love islands.
I will make a distinction in that I love the original Hoenn a lot more than the current Hoenn.
Oh, you mean the one where you can fly around it?
Yes. On the one hand, I love that, like flying around and whatnot. But on the other, there was something intimate about wandering the lands of Hoenn, the way that I did. Everything being interconnected, every city, every route. There was always something to explore and find there. So, the era of exploration never felt strongest than when it was the original Hoenn. And that's why I was looking forward to the remake, because I wanted that sense of discovery to come back.
Did you get it?
That remains to be seen.
Well, if you haven't gotten it now, I don't think you will. So, Hoenn is a good choice, but for me, I'd honestly have to say Johto.
Really?
Yeah, honestly, Johto is one of my favorite regions. I just love the culture of it. I just love the... when they did the remakes, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I loved Mahogany Town.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest, that felt like the epicenter of Johto. That felt like the central hub, where you could go from there and see anything you would want. Go to any place. Encounter all sorts of mystical things. Ruins of Alph just down to the south. The Bell Towers up to the north. East or west, you had the coastline and the Rocky Mountains. It was a beautiful sight. And honestly, if I could, I would have loved to have lived in that town.
Well, and it's the first time we got a bigger world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the last time, too. They didn't include the other regions when they came over to... when they made Hoenn, they did not include the original old areas.
I honestly don't know how they would have been able to fit them on the game.
Yeah, I get why they didn't. I mean, it was disappointing, but
It was thanks to Iwata that they were even able to put Kanto into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine just that being a shorter campaign. That would have been a rather different story, I think.
Yeah.
For me personally, I think my favorite region would actually be Unova.
Unova, huh?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I think Unova. I mean, all the Pokemon games have a diverse landscape, but I think we really see that told much better through 5, and part of that has to do with the weather system they implemented in that game, especially with the seasons.
Ah, yes.
So I want to limit my answer to Black and White Unova and not include 2 for 2 reasons. Number one, I feel that having it sync up with the exact season in the real world is a really immersive feature, and having it cycle through every month to speed up the process for events is kind of a letdown for the purposes of having to go ahead and actually explore. It makes you wait and makes you appreciate having to actually do that.
Like getting your perfect deer.
Yeah.
And my other complaint is that I don't like the starting place that they did for Black and White 2. Really shoehorned it in.
Yeah.
It kind of stinks. And I really feel like that if there's any weakness in Black and White 2's story, it's that.
Lepers.
That's the biggest weakness for me.
I will go ahead and say that another region that, honestly, I don't know if I want to live there, but I'd love the vacation there, Kalos.
The Kalos region.
I kind of have some issues with Kalos, particularly with the fact that there's a pristine forest right next to the snow-covered tundra ruins. I kind of have an issue with that. There's a lack of consistency there.
Well, there's like forest and low-lying areas. It could just be that the frosty area is a bit higher up, elevation-wise.
Yeah, but that's not as clear. Like in Generation 3, when you go up Mount Chimney, you get to see the ash coming down, and you get to see the gradual progression from mountain to forest. And in Generation 4, you definitely get that alteration, specifically when you go from a high metropolitan area to slowly more and more pure grasslands. Especially when you go like from Castelia City right into the desert of Route 4. Like, there's some stark contrast, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, basically they built along the coast in the desert outside of Castelia is like literally right in the middle of the region.
But there's lore reasons for that, and that we really don't want to get into right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Save mythology for when we decide to do an update to that video.
Yeah, when we decide to do an update to that video.
All right.
You know what's more fun than the Pokemon games?
What?
The Pokemon mini games.
Oh,
The little diversions and side quests that they managed to get us wrapped into.
Are we
So-
talking in main game, or are we talking actual side games?
In the main games. The main games, the side quests or the optional activities that they have.
Like the gambling hall?
Yeah, and we're never gonna have it ever again in our games.
Oh.
Which
Yes,
is
it's a sad day when we had to see that close down.
Mainly because of Japan's crippling addiction to pachinko machines.
They weren't pachinko machines, though.
I know.
Actually, it's not Japan that forced the close down, it's the U.S. The U.S. was the one that was pressuring them to stop bringing in the gambling games in.
Really?
God.
Really?
Because of the fear that it would incite gambling addiction in minors.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
And yet
because
we
there's
still have a Las Vegas.
Yeah.
because in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the slot machines were supposed to come back.
But we got an intervention.
We got an intervention, we got a fucking awful game.
Well, no, it wasn't
the-
awful, but it's just not.
The Voltor Switch was not as fun as the actual, much fun as the gambling game.
Mhm.
It was basically Minesweeper. And I hate Minesweeper.
What happened to
Yeah,
my one-armed
yeah, I
bandit?
agree with you.
You're one. You're one-armed bandit. Really, man. Really.
Yes, my one-armed bandits. My whole row of them. I would pick a bandit and I'd try to wrestle my money out of him.
Okay, I was thinking something completely different.
What? I don't even want to know.
Oh my god.
Don't
And
tell
I'm
me
the
you are having that easy.
apparently.
No, I'm not going to say it.
You've rubbed off.
Anywho, that's mine. How about yours?
Okay. I gotta say, out of all the diversions, none of them can beat the glory of the movie studio.
Oh, God.
Oh, in black and white too? The horrible, cheesy B-moviness of it all?
I love it! Because not only was it involving your Pokemon that you could bring them in after you do the basic stunts, but it actually requires you to have strategy in battling them.
Yeah, although I think Cerebi has a full walkthrough on how to beat them.
Right, and it has the walkthrough for if you're using the default Pokemon,
Mhm.
the ones that they give you. You can supplement it with your own and do it a different way,
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
which I thought was really interesting. And there are not only regular endings, good and bad endings, but then there are cult endings, which are like the rogue paths, which are like, okay, this is interesting, not bad, but it's interesting.
So they
And
have
that-
WTF endings?
Yes.
Yeah.
You never gotten them before?
I never played through the entirety of Black and White 2.
Well, you get to the movie theater relatively early.
Yeah, but I was too focused on trying to catch them all. Because I could actually do that now. And then I got bored, and I walked away.
Sad legend is sad.
Yeah. Sad legend is sad.
Okay,
I lost
Muzzy.
my new car.
what was your favorite side option in the games?
Oh, good lord. One of the funny ones is an X and Y, like the after game thing, where you're running around doing all these case things for that guy.
Oh, the looker quests.
Looker
Oh.
Smith.
Oh my gosh.
In X and Y, it sounds like a film noir.
I gotta say though, I gotta say Looker's theme is pretty awesome in that version.
Yeah, and not to mention you actually learn a bit more about Malva
Mm-hmm.
and how. Wait a minute, you were a member of Team Flare?
Oh shit.
No wonder you
Why,
hate.
yes.
No wonder
Why,
you hated
yes,
my fucking guts when we first met.
I was gonna say, why yes, darling, you didn't notice the hair.
You didn't notice the hair, the glasses, the
Redhead
outfit,
is the devil. Gingers have no soul.
and now I'm
Oh
thinking.
god, I wish I hadn't made
Legend.
that.
Wow, Legend.
I
Damn, dude.
apologize.
That's essentially what this game is telling you: is that gingers are the devil.
I'm sorry.
You know what I'm just thinking of right now? I'm thinking about this one image, this artwork that I saw someone draw. It was a picture of just a grumpy Lysander face, and out of his hair pops out a tiny sycamore that says, Bonjour!
Bonjour.
How does he comb his hair in the morning? Is that his natural bed head, or does he like oil that shit up? What
Just-
the hell?
No, he has a personal he has a personal
If you
stylist.
must know, I get it permed every morning.
Perned every morning doesn't sound like something feasible. Who the hell has that kind of money?
No idea.
By taking over the world, Wood.
Oh my word.
Oh, quick update, live. Apparently Pokemon Sun and Moon will be exclusively on the 3DS.
Which means...
Confirmed. So no, it's not going to be on the NX.
No.
No.
Yeah,
Which
Pokemon Sun Moon are coming to the Nintendo 3DS family of systems late in 2016.
Which I say October, November, or December.
And that's
Wow.
probably going to come out November, right before Black Friday. There is
Well.
no way Nintendo would miss that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Damn it, Moon Moon.
Okie dokie.
Damn it,
Oh,
Moon Moon.
damn it, Moon.
Oh god, you know what? I don't know what the legendary is going to be for Moon, but I am nicknaming it Moon Moon.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, dude. That's golden. Zero, what's your favorite side option in the video games?
When it first came out, I was actually interested in the contests. Yeah, that was one of the things I thought, okay, this is interesting. Something different than battles, something where you had to groom your Pokemon to do this sort of thing, to appease the crowd. And I saw it in the anime, I think, first, before I got Ruby and Sapphire, so I was like, okay, this is interesting. But it always felt like, even now, when they brought it back in Oris, I felt like they didn't do enough with it.
I had a lot of issues with the contest, but...
Oh, don't get me wrong, I had plenty of issues. I actually did manage to get to Master Rank. My problem, however, was getting the right type of Poffins. Not the Pokeblocks.
The
to,
Pokeblocks.
Pokeblock.
Yeah, because those were all dependent on the berries.
Oh god, now I remember why I spent all my time playing Ruby and Sapphire. I was growing berries like no one's business.
Just for the
that
contest.
was the majority of my post game for Platinum was berry growing, specifically the ones for eevee training.
Actually, another side note thing. I have another stupid story about Generation 3 that I have.
Oh, go ahead.
Alright, go
It's the
ahead.
nostalgia channel.
Yeah.
Open that channel, let it flow.
And suddenly my mind just immediately forgot it. Damn it.
I didn't mean let it go down the drain. I meant get out of your mouth.
Give,
Akari, what's your favorite side option in the Pokemon games?
Honestly, I like the contest in Oris.
Really?
Okay.
Because, like I said, I'm one of those few people that kind of stopped after Generation 2. Because, I don't know, I was my little, graying out of it phase, and I got back around, Gen 5. But when I started playing Oris for the first time, I was like, okay, I want to see what this whole thing's about. And I'm like, okay. And I actually did most of them in Alpha Sapphire. And I just thought it was absolutely adorable. And it wasn't actually didn't feel like it was too grueling at first, but, well, I actually liked that the most.
And then there's the contest Pikachu.
Yes, I always get the rock and roll Pikachu.
Why can't it become a Raichu?
Because it's not awesome enough to be a right.
It won't look fabulous.
There you go.
Why is it always a female? Like why
Because
is
the
it,
costume won't fit, and that's why it won't evolve.
actually that
There's
that's-
your idea.
like
Oh
that
God.
is so profound. I don't know why we didn't think of it before.
Oh God, what?
I mean, that's thumbs it up. We're moving on.
I'm choking on my French fry.
Okay, so normally when we talk about Pokemon protagonists, the normal beatdown comes to Ash versus Red, and that's not really what I would like to analyze with this next one. But I want to see, design-wise, who is your favorite looking protagonist?
And we're talking in-game protagonists.
In-game protagonist, yes.
Because I would punch Ash in the face.
Yes, can we just let me just quick poll everyone. Is there anyone for Ash here?
I'm gonna be honest here. I still think he's an idiot, but I've seen more annoying characters.
Compared to Red though, from Pokemon Origins.
No.
The thing is, both of them have their own feats and faults, but
All right. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
that's fair. But as far as design-wise between the generations, what protagonist has the best look, the best feel to them?
Please phrase that a bit better.
We're not feeling up 10-year-olds,
are we all
damn
on the
it.
floor on this one?
Who has the best fashion sense of the protagonists?
Okay.
X and Y. You can choose your own fashion.
Personally, I liked Ethan from Gold and Silver.
Ethan's pretty cool.
So,
Though Lyra from Heart Gold is... She can eat her hair. Those are not hair rolls. Those are cinnamon buns. Wait, am I thinking... No, that's Mushroom Head. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of that other chick from Black and White 2.
you're thinking of Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I forget her name.
Another Moon. Anywho. Well, when it comes to fashion, well...
Rosa is the English name for her.
Huh.
Really? I never recalled that.
That's something that was done for the Pokemon intro movie.
All right.
So canonically, the Japanese name is Mei, and it's translated to Rosa here.
Because we already have a May.
All right, Mei, M-E-I. Okay, I remember now. Well, when it comes to it, I would say best male attire probably goes towards Emerald. I would say just because that sock on his head, I couldn't tell if it was like his awesome badass albino white hair or if it was really just a hat.
A derpy hat.
Well, I like it even better in Oris because you still can't tell, but it's even,
Yeah, you told we're gonna have Brendan in his head.
I don't know how long it took me to actually find out that that's actually a hat.
I think I
think it
still
was
don't believe
when
it's a hat.
Well, either way,
I always
awesome
thought it was
headband.
I thought it was.
Go ahead.
Awesome headband holding his hair, because I do believe that is actually his hair. He's an albino in my eyes. And like that cool black and orange outfit with the green highlights, it's real cool.
Well, technically, Leo's outfit in the title card is based on Generation 3. Yours is based on more of a elongated version of Generation 1's.
And I just want to make a quick comment. And it's funny because in Black and White 2, Nate, the male protagonist, has a similar thing where his visor, actually, the poof that's supposed to be his hair, that's actually a visor. That's actually just part of the visor.
The fluffy hair on top.
Yeah, that's actually a thing in Japan. Like, there's precedent for this.
Which is awesome.
Which is kind of cool. It looks ridiculous as all hell when you think about it like that.
Exactly, but I think as far as, like, especially if there's anything that I consider, like, iconic to the character, it's the hat.
Yes.
And for me, it doesn't get cooler than playing as the male protagonist from Diamond, Platinum, and Pearl.
Oh, you mean the whole, I forget what kind of hats those are called.
It's a beret. He's wearing like a beret.
Oh, he's wearing a beret. I thought he was wearing like a derby or something.
Oh, you mean Lucas from? Oh
Yeah, Lucas from Diamond, Platinum, and Pearl.
Heck yeah.
Well, there is one other half to this coin that I flipped. I mentioned the male protagonist. Female protagonist, on the other hand, I would actually pick Leaf.
Really?
Yeah.
Leaf.
Mm-hmm. Very simple, but it really is eye-catching.
And technically, the design for her was supposed to be introduced in the original game.
Right, and she does have that sort of last look to her. But at the same time, it stands out, and I personally like it.
Yeah. I guess for male outfits for me, to be honest, I like Black and White 2's character's outfit. Why do you think I'm wearing this similar outfit? Although technically mine's kind of a mix between Nate and Hugh's outfit.
Aye.
So what was your answer, Zero? Just like didn't actually pick up on it.
Oh, I said Gen 2. Black and White 2.
Black and White
and
2.
White.
So Nate's.
Nate mixed with Hugh.
Okay.
They both
Because
have...
I remember obviously my outfit was based off of Ethan's from Gen 2, but I forgot to mention a female character. This is a bit of a tough one, but I have to say Dawn. I like Dawn from Gen 4.
Which
you know
Dawn?
what? I would totally agree with you on that one. I totally agree with you on that one, Akari.
Hang on.
Yeah,
Which
I think
Dawn? She has two outfits.
Yeah, she has regular and winter.
The regular outfit for Dawn, though.
I
Yeah, her
gotcha.
default outfit.
Why are we gravitating towards miniskirts?
I'm not touching
Because we
that.
all have a little bit of Roy Mustang in all of us.
Even Moosey?
Since she's not touching that.
Alright, I'm messing with ya.
All right. So naturally, the hero must come the villain. Favorite enemy team, guys. Now,
Oh
I said
yes.
team. So take the team as a whole. Do not apply the
Hang on.
do not apply the big boss.
we get
That's a
outside?
separate category.
Oh, I'm gonna love this one because I love villains.
Ooh.
Akari, why don't you start then?
Okay, for a fair enemy team, for my personal pick, I gotta go with Team Rocket on this one. Because to me, okay, I'm talking about the original Team Rocket, not Neo Team Rocket. The reason why is out of all the teams that I've seen over the years, I think they're the one that feels the most realistic. Because they're not after some big goal, like resurrecting ancient deities or using the power of a god to shape the world or whatever. They just thieves, basically thieves and criminals. I mean, they're nothing too over the
It's
top.
They started
Yes.
it all.
And they're the original, yes. That's the reason why. I mean, Neo Team Rocket is just they're doing the same thing except for trying to get Giovanni back. But I gotta say, for me, original Team Rocket is my favorite.
And I can respect that. And to be honest with you, after Gen 2, pretty much all of the villains in some form or way follow the basic
Take over the world. Of course!
take over
Oh, yes.
the world scheme in different manners, though with two exceptions. Well, technically four exceptions.
Isn't that basically all of them?
I mean,
No.
yeah, pretty much because we have, unless you want to count Neo as a separate team. So
I count them as a separate.
I mean, yeah, I do too. But anyway, Legend, why don't you go ahead and enlighten us with your favorite enemy team?
They are actually those two exceptions. Because I have two, and they're both after the same thing. And they would be the modern incarnations for Archie and Maxie. Holy shit. I could not stop gushing over how much I was fawning over, how much they had improved these characters.
They have so much personality.
I felt like
the Ruby Tag were amazing.
the Ruby team were pretty damn awesome. I mean, Maxie being perfectly poised, perfect, punctual, extremely cold, despite the fact that he has a magma emblem on his
jacket lapel.
But
When you beat him,
he's like insane.
oh, he is absolutely insane.
He's
and
like
the fact,
And the entire unit now looks like a proper gang of evil scientists.
yes,
Yes.
but don't get me started on the hilariously awesome idea of neo-pirate terrorists who are so free-spirited and free-willed that they're almost practically letting it all hang out. These guys were just, it was like fighting a whole crew of pirates. And they're all pirate-themed.
Yeah. Although Matt apparently had quite a thing for you, male or female.
Which is kind of creepy in its own right and kind of awesome in other ways.
And then, of course, there's Courtney from Magma, who was
We'll save
fixated
those
on
for,
you.
save those for the admin chat. We have one of those later.
Ooh.
Though, if I may make a special shout out, Archie and Shelley.
Zero, go up.
All right.
Okay, my favorite team. Oh god, that's kind of hard to say. To be honest, I think Team Plasma is my favorite.
Old or new?
Old, not Neo Team Plasma. Old
Okay.
school Team Plasma, because they were manipulative.
I would say they definitely are the most manipulative.
They were.
Yeah, they were trying to free everyone, free the Pokemon, be all one by not being confined. When in fact it was actually, fuck you, I want to rule the world and be the only one to control Pokemon.
That's kind of gets us being evil. But I would say the one thing that stood out to me about Team Plasma, how close they got.
Yeah,
Like they had their finger on the doomsday button.
literally. They were just waiting for Getsus to give the frickin' signal. They had hacked into the Pokemon Bank. They had hacked into the PC storage system, ready to release every single Pokemon from every single Pokeball.
Which would have ruined the franchise.
Yep.
Which is-
well,
Dun, dun, dun.
And the thing is, they may have been using Reshiram and Zekrom, but to be honest, they didn't really truly need them.
No.
They had a lot of power on their own. They had a giant mobile fortress that can move underground.
Holy shit.
They had that. They had the manpower. They had actually managed to recruit people because they were trying to be sympathetic. They were a more manipulative version of PETA.
Oh gosh. And not to mention, they even managed to get the #1 weakness of every single Pokemon organization to join their cause. A 10-year-old boy who knows everything about Pokemon and will go out and catch them all across the world.
I thought he was a little bit older in black and white.
Maybe he
yeah,
was.
technically the black and white protagonists are
16,
teenage
I
to
think.
the point that they. I think they're actually legal. Technically,
I think they're actually 15, I think.
Well,
I'll check.
regardless, they got that young protagonist and weaponized it.
Yeah, they gets this freaking manipulating N from the very beginning.
Awesome shit.
To be honest,
Oh, God.
even though Getsus's plan was kind of loopy,
Oh, he's all loopy.
he has all kinds of Fruit Loops, and he gets even nuttier and Fruit Loopier in the sequel. He still had a very potent plan that almost worked.
Yep. And he's easily the most evil out of all the candidates we've mentioned.
Not to mention that in the sequel, he literally tries to kill you because
Like I said, the most evil.
Yeah.
He actually tries to murder.
a child protagonist.
Guys, can we focus on the teams and less on the admins? You keep drafting to the admins.
Well, how can you not, man? You really can't you can't really separate them.
Well,
We're probably gonna do that next.
Well, why don't I go ahead and show you how it's done then?
Fine.
So, I personally, out of all the teams, I'm going with Team Galactic.
Ah, those nutballs from space.
Oh, the hive
Yeah.
mind.
I mean, there's a lot of things about Team. I mean, yeah, they still suffer a bit from Team Rocket syndrome, in which they only catch low-level Pokemon so that they can go ahead and steal higher-level Pokemon. But the thing that makes them more unique, aside from the fact that I think they have a more ambitious team, is the fact that the overall organization actually does some evil stuff before they get to the point at which they unveil their big nasty plot. My problem with Team Plasma is that they're way too covert. Like, it kind of was a I mean, we saw isolated incidents and things, but for whatever reason, the people who were in charge didn't do anything to really stop them until the final act. Keep in mind that, remember back in Castelia City, one of, I can't remember her name, the blonde girl.
Bianca?
One of Bianca's Pokemon gets stolen, and you have to work together with the artist to go ahead and track down Team Plasma. And when you actually do it, they go ahead and return the Pokemon and then flee.
Ran away.
I mean, they get a. Meanwhile, Team Plasma not only deals in kidnapping, explosives of a national monument, attempted explosion of a national monument. Along with the various cases of harassment and Pokemon stealing,
as well as completely destroying the lakes.
and that's what I meant by destruction of national landmark, and with the march with the attempted destruction.
No, it just occurred to me. That was one hell of a dynamite explosion. If it unearthed an entire lake.
If I recall right, they made the bomb by harvesting the energy of evolution from Pokemon.
Right, and then there's that little tidbit, which means they have somehow found a force stronger than nuclear fission, and technically safer because it didn't leave any residue.
Yeah.
Well,
And then they go
shit.
ahead and do the most heinous thing of all, and their ambition is to alter reality.
Well, damn.
That is some super villain levels of criminalness.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of my problem with Plasma, is that they were so covert from the beginning, and then all of a sudden, whoa, I'm evil!
Well, we
to
knew
be
they were
fair,
evil.
I mean, that's sort of their thing, is that's how a rocket starts. It only seems to be on the ground, and then boom! Straight to the moon.
Okay, I think they went way past the moon and went straight to Uranus.
Oh, God.
Well.
Anyway, so yeah, that's that. That leaves Lizzie.
I keep always coming back to the Team Aqua and Magma. I have too much fun with them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. All right.
Matt Tabitha.
So along with the journey to become the very best, like no one ever was, we have to be 8 color coordinated city mayors, basically, in a duel with the animals. So the gym leaders have always been, well, I want to say for the most part, memorable, some case hilarious, and a couple of forgettable trainers.
Oh,
So,
jeez.
starting off, let's go around the table and start with everyone's favorite gym leader.
Ooh, yes.
Favorite
Sorry?
gym leaders.
Okay, I'm gonna be the weird one here. My favorite gym leader is Blue from Gold and Silver.
Blue
Um,
from Gold and Silver.
Yeah, I have to give you that one. That's a very good point.
He's so
Because for one thing,
badass, he
he's the
doesn't
only
have
gym
to-
leader that does not have a specific typing, which
Yeah.
makes him more challenging.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think it's because of him that they altered the rules of Pokemon gyms to make them all exclusively one type. Because after him, there were no when he joined in as a gym leader, there were no other trainers in the gym.
Yeah.
What the hell?
At least in the first iteration of it. In the second one, there were.
Yeah, and he decided to add, fuck it, I'm going to add puzzles.
Yeah.
Hey,
He was worth fighting.
hey, we still got those moving floor parts from the Team Rocket hideout. Yeah.
Oh God.
What are you gonna do? What are we gonna do with them? Well, we were initially just gonna junk them. Do you mind if I
Can I borrow
them and
those?
use them to make a gym trap? Well, sure. We were just gonna throw them away anyway. Go nuts.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it'll make your
gosh.
gym more interesting. What was it, just a plain empty black room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Moose, you want to go next on this one?
One of the ones that kept making me laugh was Flannery, because every time you go in there to fight, she's just so pumped up, she just yells at you.
Well, it's keep in mind she just barely became a gym leader, and she's trying to do her best, trying to find her own groove and stuff like that. She's
All
like,
you can sit
she's
there
like,
and do is
prepare
just
to die, immortal. I mean, no, that's not right. Welcome, challenger. No, that's not right. What?
Like, she's trying to figure out how she's presenting herself and fails.
Oh my god!
I think even her poor Pokemon were probably like, the fuck are you doing?
All right, lady, come on.
I think that was a thing in the actual anime.
Yeah, I love Flannery.
Yeah.
Damn it, I'm gonna have to pick someone else.
Go ahead, Legend. Choose whomever.
Well, actually, while you're thinking of that, I'll go ahead and give mine.
Okay.
Mare Drayden, the
Damn it,
Spartan
that was the
mare!
Damn it, that was the second one! Right as I was thinking it!
The Spartan mare!
What,
He's
it's not
the
the
Chuck
fabulous
Norris
Wallace?
of the Pokemon universe!
He wrestles with his Pokemon.
To make them stronger! Help!
If there was ever a Chuck Norris in the Pokemon universe, I think Drayden would have the job covered.
Not to mention his beard looks like a magnificent dragon's maw.
I can't. No.
To be honest, I would have actually preferred him becoming the champion instead of Iris.
It looks like he's wearing a face mask almost instead of a beard.
Actually, if you look in the manga, his mouth he does actually have a mouth.
Joy.
Oh my god.
Although underneath that beard is also another fist.
No,
Yes.
it's another beard, and then
No.
underneath that beard is a fist.
Dude.
Oh God,
How
Chuck.
about you, Leo?
You know, there are a lot of gym leaders, and I think there's always one for every generation that I like. But no matter which one I have, whichever one I think is the favorite, I always come back to arguably my hardest fight, the one that it was even more frustrating than Whitney, more frustrating than the first time taking on Three Chefs. I have to go ahead and say that, and this gym leader stands out not because she's difficult, but because of the story that you have with her.
Oh
and
no.
that gym leader is Claire.
Oh, damn it!
I mean, seriously, Claire has an amazing design, and honestly, before they said cousin, I would have sworn she was Drake's sister.
You mean Lance's?
Lance's, sorry, I don't know why I said Drake's, but Lance's sister, yeah.
Yeah, Drake is the sea captain in Elite Four.
Right, sorry, I meant Lance, but yeah, Claire is arguably one of my favorite gym leaders. She has that ferocity of Sabrina, but she's not as hard as Sabrina, especially in the first generation.
However, she is petty.
She is petty, and she does it to the point of trying to humiliate you, only to humiliate herself.
Which
Which I find absolutely hilarious. Not only are you someone who rivals her cousin, who she is who she's jealous of, but then the elder's like, here, we're gonna give you this super powerful dragon because you're better than our blood relative.
Oh my gosh.
Burn.
But at the same time, I kind of there's a sort of like you kind of have to feel sad for Claire, and there's a lot of hidden undertones as far as what the dragon trainers in that family have to undergo, and it speaks a lot to Claire's personality.
There's actually a bit more lore expanded on it in actual Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah,
Where you actually do a double battle against Lance and Claire.
and partnered up with Silver,
Yeah.
which is really interesting. So I really think that Claire has a lot of room for development, and I would really love to see if they brought her back as a champion. Maybe finally understood what she needed to correct in herself.
Gold 2, silver 2.
Not gold 2, silver 2, but just bring her over as a, like, you know how they brought back Cynthia as a guest champion in Black and White? Something like that.
Oh god, yeah, Cynthia's just all over the place.
So, Legend, favorite gym leader?
Okay. My favorite gym leader
Third
was,
favorite.
well, kind of, but I realize now that when it comes to like sheer raw emotional potential, like you have gone through and gone at least 3 badges. You already met this guy. You already know him. You've known him since forever. You knew him at the very start of the game, and you go through your game. And you're making it through town by town, and every now and then you might pop back and visit old Petalburg and see how the old man is doing. But now it's come to this. You and your team have to go up against the man who taught you everything you know.
Norman.
Norman. And I'm talking original Norman. This guy was brutal to the highest degree.
And they showed that off in the manga as well. He was hardcore.
Mm-hmm. And you stood before this man and went, "What? 2 of them? Those slacking were in my nightmares for weeks because I was just flabbergasted at how hard they were hitting me. They were only hitting me every other turn, but god damn it!" But at the same time, I felt like, this is it. If I could get through this, I could get through the entire game. This is the checkpoint. This is the point where it all comes down. And when you finally throw down against your dad, and again, you're throwing it down against your freaking dad, and you finally beat him, and what happens next is simultaneously heart-wrenching and gratifying to no small extent. It's beautiful. Like, you just witnessed a father just watch his son surpass him and grow up to be a man in his eyes.
And he's not sure how to deal with it.
He's just looking out the window, just going,
Just
I
go.
knew this day would come. And that emotional attachment, like that point where you and your old man have just gone through one of the most grueling heart-to-hearts in the history of heart-to-hearts for the Pokemon series, and you see that I will still be your dad, and that whole thing, it was just fantastic.
I will also go ahead and say this. That's the only time we've ever seen one of the protagonists have a father.
Yes, and holy shit, he's awesome.
Alright, with the yin must come the yang. With the delicious sweets must come the sour taste of the feet.
I don't like tasting feet.
Sensing internal groaning from Akari.
In 3, 2, 1.
Most hated gym leader, go.
Most hated gym leader. Where do we begin? I mean, I just got through one of the hardest gym fights in the history of video games, but there wasn't one that made me cry out in utter rage until I got to Brawly. God damn him. God damn him. In Emerald, in the original Ruby and Sapphire, and especially in Oris. In the original Ruby and Sapphire, he was a major checkpoint because his Makutita hit like a fucking truck. Now, in Emerald, he got reversal, which means he hits harder the more you hit him. In Oris, he threw OSHA compliance out the window and left his dumbbells all over the floor. This is unforgivable! And that's my rant. Yours?
Alright, Zero, you got one?
I'm probably going to go with the good old classic hate here.
Oh god, I know it's coming.
The bitch! Whitney!
No!
That milk tank. That motherfucking lactating piece of feed and fodder.
And it's not that tasty either.
Ugh, Fuck that cow.
Oh, and don't forget, if you even manage to beat Whitney, what would happen?
She cries like a bitch.
And doesn't give you the badge.
Until you walk away and her second in command says, oh, don't worry, she'll eventually wear off and you can get the badge. And I'm like, really? Because when I first heard that, I thought I had to walk out and
Chase her down.
just walk out of the gym and wait. I didn't know that you could actually just turn around and say, oh, what? Wait, you want the badge? Oh, here you go. Fuck you, Whitney. I actually ended up going out of the gym and fucking around for about an hour.
Me too. I didn't.
I did not. But no, the worst part of her is also her milk take again. It knows rollout, it knows milk drink, and of course, that rollout never misses.
Nope.
It also knows stop in the track, which make for a devastating, like a paraflinch combo if you don't have female Pokemon.
Another question. Which TM does she give you? Was it rollout
Attract.
or...
No, she gives you attract.
Ah! So you don't even get the benefit of having her most damaging move be your frigging signature TM.
No, you get rollout in the route north of Goldenrod.
Why didn't she give us the rollout TM here?
Because she...
Because that would make sense, and you can't have that. I
Because
thought I
she's an
covered
emotional
this.
bitch, and I think the TM was appropriate.
Okay, Moosey, you want to go next?
I'm in the same boat he is. I just get so annoyed with her.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and take my piece before we move on to Akari. Before I go and say my candidate, I need to give a temporary shout out to the Elemental Trio brothers, Cress, Chili, and Seelan, because the first time I fought them, I have never felt this frustrated since the first time I tried to take on Brock in Yellow. Because that was an annoying twist. And they always choose the one you're weak against.
The twist.
Which
Twist indeed.
Which means you had to go off into the side and actually pick up one of the monkey Pokemon.
You have to pick up the counter monkey, yes.
Counter monkey.
Monkey.
Anyway, no, but that's only the honorary mention. The
Who's
one
your-
that I actually hate is one which a lot of people are familiar with, but not in the way that Zero and Muzi are. In fact, this is a trainer from the original generation. A trainer because of my own incompetence as a trainer, prevented me from advancing far beyond without over-leveling my Pokemon. And that trainer is Misty.
Ooh.
Misty.
Misty
That fucking
was
Starmie.
by far my most difficult challenge playing Gen 1 and the remake.
Yeah.
And it has to do with her freaking Starmie.
Oh god,
It
yeah.
always does.
Because of the fact that it can evolve via a stone, the stats that it has when you go against it are astronomical compared to what you have at the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
no kidding. And Starmie, even back then, would outrun everything.
The
It
thing is,
outruns everything, has recover, and has arguably the best move coverage. And even then, it's not using full coverage because it's only limited to Bubble Beam, Water Pulse, Confuse Ray, Recover, and I think maybe Rapid Spin.
Hang on, you missed something there. Recover.
Yeah, I said Recover.
No. Just going over that. She didn't even need to use a potion. She could heal before you could kill it.
I believe this was back in the times before trainers actually used healing items on their Pokemon.
Which makes it all the worse if you run in there and get your ass handed to you.
So she was a pioneer in this bullshit. And keep in mind, Recover recovers HP, I believe 2/3 of your HP.
2/3 of your HP back in the day, it got scaled back to 50% by the time we got to Gen 3.
Oh, so it was worse back then.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that if you were in Yellow or you didn't choose Bulbasaur at the start, you had to rely on an Oddish or a Bellsprout to try and tank water hits because those things are incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Which made for some crazy situations where paralysis hacks were required to beat this thing.
Oh god, Misty She hit you in the head with an OU tier Pokemon.
And it got worse in Generation 3 when they replaced Bubble Beam with Water Pulse,
Oh!
which has a chance of confusion on top of whatever shenanigans she's pulling on you.
I think we're physically causing Legend pain.
So,
yeah, I can actually see the bruises.
In conclusion, Ash has a reason to fear Misty, for she commands the seas themselves.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that she did technically own a Gyarados in the anime.
Akari, go ahead and take this.
There is one gym leader in particular that has brought me so much pain. One that has shocked me to my very core due to a certain flying fucking rodent she commands.
Alas.
God damn her and Emolga! I have done serious grinding on my rock Pokemon to take her out. And what happens? They're 5-6 levels higher and they get fucking taken out by one attack of Volt Switch. Never in my life have I lost so many times to a fucking gym leader that I almost threw my DS against the wall and fucking broke it. I was this mad. Even worse than Whitney.
Which is why
At least with Whitney, I had a little difficulty with her. I was ready.
Because I don't have trouble with her, so...
Well,
I had a little trouble with Whitney because I was ready for her. But Elisa was different. I grinded my rock Pokemon, like I said.
Alessa.
And she still one-shots them. And to this day, it still haunts me. It still pisses me off that I lost to a fucking flying rodent.
I do love her gym in Black and White, too, though.
Oh, yeah, her gyms are great. I mean, in Black and White 2, she's not as bad, but in the original Black and White...
Thank you for the rant face.
Okay, so we're done with that. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to most memorable enemy admin. And for the record, this excludes N because he's not an admin. He's more of a rival or antagonist.
Yes.
So just to make that qualification out there, anyone else related to the team that you battle that's named in the amongst the team roster is fair game.
Good. All right.
Anyone want to go first? Anyone got a good pick?
Okay, I'll go. For favorite admin, my favorite one would have to be Getsus. Getsus to me seems to be the most. I mean, everyone has their own goals, but with him, he seems to be the most sinister of all of them. And as with Zero brought earlier in the sequel, he literally tries to murder you with a legendary Pokemon.
Wait, we're talking admins. That's a leader.
Leader?
Well, admin leader, that's basically the same.
Yeah, that's what he means. It's a leader.
Okay.
Admin or leader, if you don't like the leader, you can go with the admin. But you name personnel from the team.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Getsus is completely off the freaking rails when it comes. I mean, after you beat him and then go to Black and White 2, he even becoming more psycho. And I mean, he even thinks you are the original protagonist of the previous game. And
well, I wouldn't say that he thinks that you're the protagonist. I think what he sees is, oh no, another child protagonist who thinks he can beat me. Fuck you, I'm going to get rid of you before you become a problem.
Well, yeah, and he's like I said, he's the only one that tries to commit homicide on your character. I mean, as with other protagonists, they're just trying, just to stop you. I mean, but him, cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo.
Well, he's not the only nut in the mixed bag.
Oh, boy.
I think my favorite one, I know he's completely insane, and I know his team's kind of stupid, but I just gotta love Lysandra.
Lysandra? Really?
Yeah. Because he's just completely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He's literally the Pokemon equivalent of Hitler.
Oh, God.
Because he's trying to destroy every other human and Pokemon other than his own team and their Pokemon. To create an ideal, perfect world that can be nourished and flourish.
Wow, I did not even think about it that way.
Really? You never thought about it like that? He's literally trying... He's literally trying to use the giant and world-destroying cannon using either freaking Xerneas or Yveltal to basically scorch the earth clean of all other human and Pokemon other than his team and their Pokemon in order to create an ideal world.
Well,
Yeah, that's cray cray.
That
That's
is
very
planetary levels of homicide and genocide.
though I will say, in terms of scope, there is one antagonist who goes above and beyond in the call to destroy all humans.
And I guess that would be Cyrus.
Yep. Though,
Oh, God.
I wouldn't say that he's my favorite.
Who's your favorite?
I did kind of mention this before, but I love the Aqua team. And that would extend to the characters in that Aqua team. When you talk to Archie, he basically calls you little buddy. He's not just a... he doesn't just see you as a threat. He sees you as a rival. He sees you as a brother that he never had, that he happens to be picking a spat with at the moment.
Yeah, or he sees you as maybe a potential new ally to his cause.
Possibly. Like, when I look at this guy, I just went, Archie, you're a bro. I would absolutely join the Team Aqua team. Like, there was no team member, no team leader that I ever thought I would actually go, you know what, I would follow you. I could absolutely see myself following you.
Let's flood
See,
the
I'm in the
earth.
same boat.
Yes! The same boats!
Oh, but a dish.
Yes! But more than that, like, when it comes to pure character, just pure, unadulterated, awesome character, there's only one. And that would be Shelly. And no, I'm not just saying it because of her appearance. Like, she actually shows legitimate concerns, and yes, I do ship her with Archie. I just wish that he'd wake up and see it. But the fact that I can even...
with what's his name?
What is the other admin's name?
The other admin's name is Matt, and he
Yeah,
is...
he's romancing with Matt.
You had a bromance with Matt?
No, he has a bromance
like
with
he
the main...
does.
No, Matt has a
Archie
bromance with the protagonist.
He also has one with Tabitha. Hilariously enough.
Oh, God.
Oh yes, because they're both big guys. That's right, I do remember
My
that.
little Makahita man.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go in the backwards direction because honestly, no one gets more charismatic than the cold and collective Giovanni.
Ooh, Giovanni.
The mafia
And-
boss.
Yeah, and that's sure, you have more creative bosses like Maxi and Archie. You have the crazier bosses with Getsus and Cyrus, and Lysandra. Lysandra is a bit interesting because he goes ahead and he has elements of class to Giovanni, but Giovanni just nails it because Lysandra goes too crazy, and Giovanni is just a man, literally down to earth in what he wants, and he's a very simple man.
Literally down to earth considering the type he uses.
Right, and I think it's a bit more interesting to consider how underground the depths of this man's soul goes when you consider that one of the biggest questions is how he sired Silver, and the only trace that anyone has ever come close to is that it's either Arachne or Andrea, depending on the translation, but the female red-haired admin from Neo Team Rocket is the only other red-haired character that's predominantly seen in the game.
Ooh, so are you saying that,
So the fan theory, is that exactly that.
an affair, an inter-office affair?
That's exactly what the theory says.
Light colored hair does not always mean affair.
No, red
In a
colored
video
hair
game,
means
it
affair.
In a video game in which that's how you determine your characters apart. That's it's something to it's the we're grabbing the threads here, but that's the closest thing we got.
What's the Pokemon equivalent of Mori?
What, Mori from Mori's Monstrous Pit?
No, like Mori Povich. You are not the father!
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh god, I'd love to see that episode. Ugh.
Oh, my word.
And then before we move on, a temporary shout out to the shapeshifter dude, the one who can go ahead and change faces real fast, because he gives you a couple of good runs. He's kind of like the, okay, I don't really want to do this, but I'll go ahead and beat you, and oh, you're actually really good. I have to actually not fool around as much.
Who are you talking about?
One of the admins, he's the one who can actually change shape and form.
Oh, him! Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm remembering that from the Heart Gold Soul Silver manga now. Sorry.
yeah, okay.
That's actually pretty cool. Alright then,
Yeah.
so what do you say we move on to...
The next topic we got, so we did gym leaders already, so now we got to move to the Elite Four members.
Does this count champions?
No, the champions are a separate roster in and of themselves.
Oh, man.
So Lance is omitted.
So Lance is naturally omitted.
Well, not necessarily, if you count his Gen 1 appearance.
I'm going to say he's omitted because the rank of champion supersedes.
Yeah.
Alright, we all remember him as the Johto champ. So I'll wait on that.
Petrol, that's the one I was trying to remember.
Oh, yeah, okay. Let's see. Favorite Elite Four member. Oh, God, that's kind of hard to choose.
Oh, God.
I don't know, man. There are a few that actually really stood out to me.
I think...
Can I go ahead and do mine since I already have mine on hand?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This dude, I saw him for the first time, and I'm like, this guy is golden. This dude would be a perfect like spin-off character to have a series just around him. And he has everything that a protagonist needs. He has the look, he has the feel, he talks the talk, he walks the walk, and he has a sweet-ass ascot.
Dare
So
I...
my favorite Elite Four member is Grimsley.
Grimsley! Oh, him!
Ooh.
Because the dude has style. He has grace. He doesn't have a funny face, and he absolutely just his chats with him post battle. The dude has a very interesting view on life.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I gotta admit, the man's got style.
All right.
And the fact that they keep pairing him up with Chantal, which is like my favorite crack pairing, is just absolute the icing on the cake.
Well, much like I'm willing to bet, much like Velma Dinkley, let's see, she's quite the looker underneath those glasses and that sweater.
Possibly.
That is what the fan art would lead you to believe.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, so yeah, Grimsley is my pick.
All right, Legend, do you have a pick?
Yes, I do. I'm going to wait on it.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Muzi, Akari, you guys want to go?
Oh, you go, Busy.
It's actually kind of hard to pick.
We're gonna probably need you to go ahead and go now, Legend.
All right,
I'll
fine.
go.
Oh, all right. Go for it.
This one I have to say, like I said, I never got it. Like I said, I never played Gen 3. But when I was on this in Oris, when I got to him, I had complete respect for this guy.
Oh, I know
He
who it is.
is one of, like, despite his age, he looks like he can kick some major ass.
And does he?
And yes, he does. I am talking about Drake.
Yes.
Yes. And
This
no,
man-
not Drake from the 99
This is
Dragons.
like, I'm sorry, people might like Lance, but to me, this is the real Dragon Master. He has respect. He's dedicated. He just has fun with it. This is a guy who loves what he's doing.
To me, also, I'll go ahead and say this. He looks like he's old friends with Captain Bryony.
Actually, he is.
He is.
And why do I have the feeling that Archie maybe looked up to him?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Oh man, but yeah, Drake is probably the most badass Elite Four member I have ever seen in my life.
And
'Cause,
he's not just all like, I will kick your ass. He's a philosophical guy too. Like, when I talked to him, I wanted to hear more. I wanted to know, like, this guy's history. Like, what new lands did he discover while we weren't looking?
Pirates of the Hoenn region.
Like,
not to mention, he has probably one of the best teams I have ever fought against.
Yeah, it's a pretty freaking scary dragon team because
Oh, God.
around Gen 3 is when dragon types started to get really fucking scary.
yeah, including
yeah.
the scariest
Where's
of
he
all
at?
time, Salamence.
Which is still fucking amazing.
The two Flygons, Altaria, and then the fucking Kingdra.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh, at least it wasn't as bad as Claire's dragon.
Yeah, but unlike Claire, he wasn't cheap. He didn't spam double team. He took you you on head on.
He didn't spam double team and dragon breath to paralyze you.
Well, he does spam Dragon Breath, but what he didn't do was abuse you.
Yeah.
When you fared against him, he already understood. You went up against Glacia, right? Okay. You, me, no cheap tricks. We're going to square off as men. And we did. I used Ice Beam all the way, but we squared off as men.
Fighting against him, a fight with that man will put will put hair on your chest.
This would be a man, if he was real, I would have the highest respect for him, whether I win or lose.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what happened. This was the guy that I was going to pick, but kudos to you for picking him first.
You can pick him again, dude. There's nothing wrong with doing that.
I could. And honestly, when it comes down to it, Drake is one of the major characters in the Elite Four that I will always come back to and say, I utterly fucking respect this guy.
To be honest, I fought the Elite Four like 12 times back in the original Ruby and Sapphire, mainly because I played all three games like 3 times over.
Right?
And he was always an amazing and fun fight to encounter.
Oh, yeah. I only wish he didn't have as big of a problem against ice types and dragon types, but, you know, he was a man that just oozed charisma and experience.
Alright.
But if I had to pick a second one, if I had to pick an Elite Four member that caught my eye and shook me whenever I fought them, it basically said, you're in for it. This is going to be one of the most brutal experiences that you've ever had in your life. And not to mention has their own unique charismatic appearance, look, and attitude. I would have to go with Lorelei.
Lorelei?
The very first Elite Four the Elite Four member that ever was faced in a Pokemon game. Like, you have made it and gotten all 8 badges, and here's the final challenge, right?
Yeah.
And what does she do in Gen 1?
She freezes your ass.
She destroys you. Holy shit, will she destroy you.
You thought ice types were weak? She proves otherwise.
Because...
She's one of the better ones.
Oh, yeah. But there's more to her than that. Beyond that, when it came to Fire Red and Leaf Green, well, her redesign caught me completely off guard. Glasses, business attire, and that's a cold stare that was looking down at me going, yeah, I am about to bend you over and utterly destroy you. That scared the living daylights out of me, especially once the ice beams and sheer cold started flying out.
Yeah, she had already given you the cold shoulder from the beginning. She just ended up dropping the temperature further.
Oh yeah, and speaking of shoulders, I am a big fan of bare shoulders. Sue me. And also the fact that she's not just an Elite Four member, but also an island leader. Like, she's
from one of the Sevi Islands.
Yes, and she's responsible for protecting them, which is actually kind of a bonus in my book.
Yeah, Yeah, there's an ice cave on one of them, right?
Yep, where she trained. She trained in the bitter cold of an island nation, which happens to look up to her as its matriarch. Holy shit.
Yeah? Oh, crap. Well, my choice is kind of an odd one, but mainly it's because you meet her before she becomes an Elite Four.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Go on.
The Psychic Princess.
Ooh.
Caitlyn.
Painful memories are coming back.
Oh god, I love her. She's awesome.
If you ever went to the Battle Palace in Gen 4, you know that you had to fight against her butler, not her. You would think that you were fighting her, but no, it's the butler. Whenever you beat the butler, Caitlyn starts to lose it. Because she wants to start fighting you.
But the butler stops her from destroying you.
Because she literally has an immense psychic power that he is terrified of her and does everything in his power to make sure that she doesn't destroy the castle again.
Again. Keyword again.
And
Man.
And what happens in Gen 5, she grows up and she learns to control her power.
Now, I actually have a bit of a theory behind that.
Oh, I'm all ears.
Well, it's kind of a mini theory. I'm thinking that the little girl in the castle is an astral projection.
So, Como say what?
I don't know. Like, if it's happening in the same period of time, then I would say that, well, it doesn't make as much sense for a little girl to grow up into a big girl over the course of so many years.
Yeah.
But to me, it kind of struck me when I saw Caitlyn in the Elite Four and saw that she was basically narcoleptic. She was always sleeping. So the astral projection is her dream state.
Her dream state, which is
Where
her
she-
unbridled emotion.
Yes, her unbridled emotion, childlike personality, and, to top it all off, she's the princess of a castle with her own butler.
Oh my! Is the butler himself also an astral projection?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think she's.
I think she's mind controlling him. But that's my theory for another day.
That's another crazy idea. But yeah, she had her own set of skills. She was pretty.
Yes, don't get me started on that Reuniclus.
Yeah, that Reuniclus was actually pretty tough. To be honest, I think she was one of the Elite Four that gave me the most trouble in Gen 5.
And she's the one I always pick first because I knew she was going to be evil going up against her later.
Yeah. So yeah, there's my choice. Okay, Muzi?
Well, one of the first ones that really, got to me was when you encounter him in Gen 2. And then again in Gen 4. Because you fight Koga in the Elite Four. You've got a history with this man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
He could
Koga.
possibly make your life hell previously, but now he's in the Elite Four.
God damn him.
Yeah.
Like,
That fortress. That fortress.
Gosh darn that fortress. Physical attacks bounced off, and if I didn't kill him quickly, here came the explosion.
Oh, if you weren't prepared, you were gone.
Or how about the spikes?
The spikes, the poison, the evasion noobing. Oh my god!
And Legend is arcing and twisting his back in unusual proportions like a cat.
Can I see a chiropractor? Koga messed up my spine.
Was he used the poison needles?
I don't need acupuncture, especially not from him. I already had that, damn it. That's why I need an actual chiropractor.
Alright, real quick, let's go over your least favorite or most hated Elite Four member.
Well, mine is stolen from Zero's. I really didn't like Caitlyn. I was destroyed. Though, if I had to... Well, I don't want to steal from Zero. No, I'll go ahead and pick the one that destroyed me the most. No other Elite Four member has destroyed me nearly as much as this one. And that one would be... Glacia.
Glacia? Who looks like Agatha's daughter.
She is
Maybe
not.
she is.
She has actually gotten quite the makeover in the Gen 6 remake. But when it comes down to it, Glacia was the most brutal of all. She spammed items. She had a wall rain with a one-hit kill move in sheer cold, and her entire lineup of Pokemon was built
around ice types, of which there were only 2 evolutionary lines. Snorunt into Glalie, of which she had 2, or the Spheal line in Spheal, Celio, which she had 2 of, and a fucking Walrein!
And that Walrein always gave you hell.
Yes! So, add to that, not only is she of ice type, she's a water type trainer too. So, you better bring the thunder, because if you bring fire, you are destroyed.
Although with the ice type, thunder didn't do as much damage as you would hope.
Yes. And on top of all that, because it's only getting started.
Oh yeah, this was also the generation where they introduced abilities. Didn't they all have thick fat?
Yes, she'd be setting up hail, setting up blizzards on your ass, and then destroying you with either sheer cold or surf. All of her Pokemon besides the Glalie knew surf, and she would heal them when they were close to dying. I'm done for now. You
No,
There,
no,
pat.
I got a horrible one.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
please don't.
The original pain in the ass woman.
Oh no.
Oh,
Agatha.
yes.
The crone herself.
I dated Professor Oak in my day.
Yeah.
I was quite a looker then. He sucks now.
Seriously,
Really, you were young. I didn't know you could. I didn't know dirt could look younger.
I will say this: whoever the artist design for the Pokemon did the designs for the old ladies, they progressively got better throughout the generation. Because by comparison, the Dragon Elite Four member from Gen 6 looks more normal compared to Glacia and Agatha by extension.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? I actually have my least favorite, but also one of my favorite Elite Fours at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, you'll have
Go
to
for
explain it.
Go for it, and we'll figure it out.
Nothing we do makes sense.
Let's see, how do I put this? It's fucking raw! Oh, God.
Oh, I know who it is.
Sibold! Oh, fuck that guy. I love him too.
And hate his stinking guts.
The Golden Ramsey of the Pokemon world.
I love pissing him off.
Fuck that Gyarados, by the way.
Fuck that Gyarados, by the way.
I actually had to reteach one of my Pokemon a grass type move in order to kill it.
A grass type.
Wait, not a grass type move. I had to teach it an electric move.
There you
Because
go.
it had Magical Leap at first, and I had to give it Thunder.
Yeah.
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 Oh man.
Because that Gyarados, that one was fucking scary. I never found a Gyarados that intimidating before. Hell,
Oh.
hell, even freaking Lyssandra's Mega Gyarados didn't scare me as much.
That's saying something.
It is saying something.
But seriously, his water Pokemon were relentless.
They were also varied and had multiple counters to anything you threw at him.
And you burnt the steak again, you daft bastard! Like that's the only thing missing from the Gordon Ramsay was the fact that he insults you for poor cooking.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
fantastic.
great design, terrible boss fight.
Oh, yeah.
The Tauros steak is so raw I can still hear it mooing!
I was about to go with the raw jokes. Very nice.
Oh my god.
I got my most hated Elite Four member, and I'm sad to say it's this member, because between the two of us, you would have thought like we would have been best pals, we would have been chummy chums, we would have been brothers. But no, my most hated Elite Four member is Flint.
I knew this was coming.
And I don't know if it was how my team was structured, but when I first took him on in Platinum, I got my ass handed to me because Sunny Day set up his Magmortar, which completely doused which would insta-kill like 3 members of my team.
Jesus Christ.
And that partly had to do with the fact that the special attack on that thing is not to be underestimated. It looks like a happy-go-lucky fire clown. The clown knows how to access heavy-grade artillery.
Joker?
Oh, and don't get me started on his drift blim.
Why does he have a drift blim?
Oh, platinum. Not platinum. He doesn't have the drift blim in platinum, I think.
Yeah, but I will want to give special mention to his drift blim in the original Diamond and Pearl because that fucking thing was evil.
Didn't it have aftermath?
That may have explained several additional deaths to the Pokemon themes I used.
Yeah, because if a Pokemon has aftermath and they die, they take like a huge chunk out of your life.
Yep.
It's like an improved version of Stealth Rock, except you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Flint was a big pain in the butt for a while until I reconfigured my team to take him on. I didn't have any problems with Aaron or Bertha, but Flint was a roadblock for quite a while.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. Although I never had that problem because I had a freaking level 75 Empoleon.
As for me, have I gone? Or shall I?
Yeah, you've gone.
Yeah,
You're dead.
Aw.
yeah. So
Because I've got
Akari's the
another
last
one.
Akari's the last one.
This is one where I thought this is gonna be fun, and this is one that has kicked my ass numerous times, no matter how many times I leveled up. It's like, okay, I'm good. I'm gonna be getting her, and then she kicks my ass with her last Pokemon, and she looks like a quiet librarian kind of person.
Uh-oh, I think I know who this is.
Chantal!
Yep!
Oh my god damn her and her ghost team! I will admit her team is good, but I swear to god, I always almost have the edge over her, and then she comes out with her last Pokemon and she kills me.
Ooh.
if anything,
God.
the ghost types have become more varied and more twisted as the generations go on.
Yeah, and especially in Gen 5, there were a lot of heavy variants, including a water-type variant.
Yeah, we got like
Alright.
3 ghost types in that generation. We got the
We got-
Jellicent,
we
we got Cofagrigus, and we
You got
got
a pure ghost
Chandelure. Sorry.
and you got a pure ghost type with the most annoying ability in Mummy.
Yeah.
It's not the most annoying, but it's definitely a giant pain in the ass. Oh, I just lost my Intimidate. Fuck!
Oh, I just lost my boost when my health is low. Fuck.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Yeah,
I lost my
okay.
ability to fly. Oh crap! Here comes an earthquake.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. I think we know what the next progression is. So at the end of the road, we have to fight the big bad boss and win the game. And so the last one, I think, for the night, because it's getting late, guys.
Yeah.
Do you want to end it off here? Okay. So the last one we got is the favorite champion. Favorite champion, and then we'll go to the hated champion at the end. So favorite champions first.
Oh, man.
Okay, this is gonna be good.
I have 2 big favorites. But you know what? All the champions deserve special mention for just being so freaking good, with
Legend-
few exceptions.
Pick one to start with.
Pick one to start with. My absolute favorite, the one that always had the most class for me, Cynthia.
Yeah.
I
Oh
love
yes.
her, and in a totally platonic way. Don't get me wrong, but there was something special about coming up against someone who was so freaking good at what they did that she was not just a challenge. She was a personality, a character, a friend.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that I think
if I
she.
could go ahead and make an off-game character, or make a character reference with Cynthia, if Cynthia had her own video game, that video game would be Bayonetta.
Yeah, she could basically be the Bayonetta of the Pokemon series.
Let's see. She's smart. She's intelligent. She's an archaeologist. She's a freaking powerful trainer. She travels all over the world.
And
Always seems to do it stylishly.
Yeah, especially with her Lucario hair clips.
oh, and add to that,
Oh my god,
high
I can't believe I
class.
realized those.
You didn't realize that till now? Oh my god, Leo. God damn it,
No,
Leo.
I got one.
Okay, go for it, Muzzy.
Steven.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Stone.
the badass himself.
The man.
Not
Okay.
only is he associated with a gigantic Pokemon company and a rare stone collector,
He has the stones.
but he's also the champion. And he
So-
practically hands you a legendary Pokemon in the remake.
So we go from Bayonetta on one end to Tony Stark on the other.
Pretty much, yeah.
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 Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Although, I'm gonna go ahead and put in my favorite into the hat. And since we're making comparisons to two fictional characters, this one's more appropriate because she's actually based on someone in real life. Diantha.
Really? Who's she based on?
Audrey Hepburn.
I was gonna say her look was familiar.
Yep.
Huh? Really?
Yeah. Take a look at Audrey Hepburn and then take a look at Diantha and tell me that they don't look alike.
Yeah, the clothing, the hairstyle, the smile. Yeah, it's definitely her.
Yeah, Breakfast at Tiffany's would be a very fun delight with Miss Diantha.
Good movie.
Yeah, I just pulled up a picture of her on my phone, and I'm like, holy crap, she is Diantha.
Exactly. Exactly, and that was intentional because of the Paris theme, I'm told,
Huh.
to the Kalos region. But yeah, Diantha has both those elements of Steven and Cynthia, and I think she brings them both together better than each of them individually, especially when it comes to being a trainer, which is compared to her lead Pokemon, which is her Mega Gardevoir.
Yeah.
Oh man, Mega Gardevoir brings back some terrifying memories. You know, I actually didn't know how Aegislash was obtained once upon a time, and I ended up going in with a pair of Doughblades. That was a horrifying experience. I was put in a position where I had to strategically figure out how I was going to quick attack her to death, or I would have lost the fight. And I did win, but it was so by the skin of my teeth. If I had miscalculated, she would have one-shot my entire team.
Really?
Yeah.
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 That Mega Gardevoir is no joke.
To be honest, I didn't have a problem fighting her, but that was because I used the EXP all that they give you, and I was way too over-leveled. But I got to appreciate that her team is actually quite balanced.
No, it's not. That was the other thing. She was super weak. She had two Pokemon that were basically the fossils,
Yeah.
which automatically put her at an extreme fighting type weakness.
Yeah, that's true.
And I believe there were...
But then she has the Mega Gardevoir to cover them.
Yeah, but she only ever sent that out at the end.
That's true. If she brought that in earlier, that would have kind of mixed things up.
Oh boy. It would have been the game over from the start.
I would say her team could use a bit of rebalancing, to be all honest. Like, the Gore guy, I don't even know why she had that in there.
Additional fighting type coverage.
Yeah, I suppose so. Honestly, I think whoever designed her team really needed to rethink about it.
Just like they were trying to pull off a Steven Stone, but...
Yeah, because they were
quite
using
there.
the two fossil Pokemon like he did, but honestly, Steven did it better because Anorith and Craydiddly...
They cover each other's weaknesses and honestly fit his theme a lot better.
Yeah.
He's a rock collector.
Honestly,
He does that.
I think if she had used more, like... She did have a Sylveon on her team, right?
I don't remember
Yeah,
one, no.
she did.
Okay, she did have a Sylveon on her team. I think if she used Sylveon, Gardevoir, and maybe some other Pokemon that kind of suited her her style, her beauty, her power, it would have been a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the problem with that is that it would have made her team more very heavy.
Honestly, it could have gone with a little bit more heavy duty. Because it was a little too frail, if you ask me. I guess
Okay.
I could go ahead and go into my favorite.
Yep.
Okay, this one, it's kind of weird, but you guys kind of took my first two picks.
Well, you can support your first two picks. You don't have to pick someone else.
I know, but I want to at least give someone else some spotlight as well. And honestly, I know people don't like her, But I kind of like Iris as a champion.
She does have a fantastic theme.
Yeah.
It's very lighthearted and cheery.
I mean,
Car? Sorry.
what I was trying
No,
to...
go ahead.
Hey, quit cutting me off, damn it.
I tried to say go ahead.
Oh. Anyway, I like Iris because, well, for one, she likes playing the champion. She's very powerful as well. Because honestly, I looked up what her team was, and it was like in the upper 60s, and I was like, oh fuck no, I gotta grind for this shit. Because by the time I had reached the Elite Four, I was just barely at level 40 for all my mid 40s for all my team, and I was like, oh no way, no way. And like I said, she's got a very fun theme, and honestly, I know people don't like Black and White 2, but I feel like it was more of a light-hearted game. It wasn't trying to be super serious.
This is the game that tries to kill you at the climax of the story.
Fair enough, fair enough. It still has its own twisted moments, but...
Okay, you good?
I'm good.
Okay, Akari.
Okay, first of all, I want to give an honorable mention. I give an honorable mention to Red because, for one, he was like the kind of like a metaphysical kind of thing. Because basically, you're like a previous version of yourself in a way. It's like, okay, I'm ending the game by fighting who I was before, and not to mention having a really actually pretty good team, even though you pretty much just one shot with everyone with Earthquake or whatever. But yeah, I give it. But my favorite, and this was mentioned earlier, I gotta give it to Steven Stone because I like him because he's charismatic, he's very smart, and not to mention, like I said, he's got a very very sturdy team right up there with Cynthia's.
He's the man.
Mm-hmm.
He is the man. I mean, not to mention, he has probably the best champion theme out of all the characters.
Oh, man.
I mean, with Cynthia, you should get that kind of like, no. But with Steven, it's kind of got that kind of rock. Okay, no pun intended with that. It's got that kind of like upbeat rock kind of sound to his theme. It's like...
No, the pun would have been better if you just said metal.
Well, he is
That's
Steven
not
Stone.
cliche.
Okay, so we have to go ahead and we all know what the next deal is. Least favorite or most hated champion?
Honestly,
Oh, God.
you kind of know all the champions, but you know what? I feel the least memorable is Alder.
Yeah, he
Alder,
is.
really?
Same here.
Yeah.
I feel like the only thing that's notable about him is one of his Pokemon, which is Volcarona. I cannot, for the life of me, remember what his other team members are.
Escavalier was one of them, that's for sure.
You got Escavalier, you got Afrobull, you got Excelgor.
Fuck that Excelgor, by the way.
Okay, now I'm remembering. Didn't he have... Fuck, I know he had something else. He had those two bugs, he had the Afro Bowl, he had Volcarona. Didn't he have Sock and Throw as well?
Let me check. I don't think so, though.
But yeah, I actually
I
had...
don't agree with you.
He had a Drudigon and he had a Vanillux.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the remakes, he switches them out for Conkeldurr and Braviary.
Which are better choices. But does that stop his number one achievement from being present in a Pokemon game?
He was barely there, to be honest. And he was there simply to lose to end.
Yeah, he was there to lose. He wasn't there to beat you, he was there to lose.
He didn't come around and give you information. He appeared like once early on, and that was it. And then, to be honest, Iris was around more often. And even she was around more often doing all sorts of stuff. And in Black and White too, she was all around doing stuff as well. She was a champion in going all around.
And doing champion things.
Yeah.
Whereas Alder was playing hippie. He's a Pokemon hippie.
Yeah.
He's dressed right.
Yeah. To be honest, he kind of gave me a Native American vibe with his outfit. It could
That's
just
what
be,
he was based on, probably.
No, he has some. Whatchamacallit? He has some Buddhist elements to them. The Pokeballs that he hangs around his neck are like prayer beads.
okay, I can see that.
Yep. And I can respect the whole
he
thing.
has some sort of like a very much monk vibe to him, especially with the fact that you meet him on top of the cliff and he just jumps down to greet you, as well as always preaching advice and just his general feel about him is much more monk-like. And in all fairness,
So he's Jiraiya.
yeah, he's basically Jiraiya, and that's exactly the correct analogy to use in that movie.
Yeah, that's kind of it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I will say this, though. They did play him really, really coolly in the anime. There was one point where he actually asked Cynthia out on a date. She turns him down, and he just goes, kind of expected that, and then they both blow it off.
He also suplexes a charging Afro Bull in that same episode, or in one of the other episodes that he was in.
So how is it that the anime, which gets everything wrong in so many ways, how is it that they portray this guy to actually be awesome more than the games do? It's a role reversal I've never seen.
I haven't seen what he's like in the manga. When I finally decide to read it, I'll find out, because they never bothered to finish publishing it on any of the online things I've gone to, but they have got the box sets out, so fuck me if I know why. Anyway,
I can understand why.
I actually have a different least favorite champion compared to him, and he's one that I feel like is just more annoying than memorable or even fun. Because I like Alder's energy, but I don't like this character, and this character, if at all, seems pretty half-assed as a champion, and very inferior to the one he replaced.
Wallace.
Oh, yeah. Wallace sucked. Yeah.
So, he was better off as a gym leader. I'm not going to lie. He was better off as a gym leader
instead of
Juan.
Juan was annoying to fight.
He was basically the same thing.
I mean, and that's really the thing, is that he's just a glorified gym leader.
Yeah.
At the very least, Alder had variance in his team. Wallace is just a glorified gym leader.
Yeah. Yeah, he did not feel champion material.
And then he decides to get flamboyant in the remake.
Oh god, yeah, the photo shoot.
Hello, my old mentor. I offer you a gift of fangirls to worship the ground you walk upon. Oh, thank you, dear pupil. I will guard this gym very closely. God damn him!
Not to mention that the photo shoot actually focused on his crotch on one of the shots.
Oh, God!
I am more than certain that he's wearing yoga pants.
And I'm pretty damn sure underneath that he's wearing a thong.
No! I don't need that imagery! No!
Too bad you got
That's
it.
if we're lucky he's wearing a thong at all. Nothing at
I'm
all!
out.
Nothing at all!
Stupid sexy Wallace.
No.
The meme exists.
Not to mention the fact that we discover that Wallace has a relative in Lyra.
Yeah, Lyra, and they both are apparently lightheadedness comes with the blue hair.
Light blue lightheadedness makes no difference.
So yeah, are you all just gonna go ahead and stick with Alder, and I'll be the lone one who says Wallace is the?
No, I fully agree with you on Wallace being a terrible champion.
Wallace and Alder, I kind of think, are the low points of gym leaderdom. Not gym leader, championdom.
Championdom.
Yeah.
Though
we'll
just go ahead and make that a word.
Yeah, we have talked about all of them except for Lance, technically.
There's one more! And I'll pick him, because he was a giant pain in my ass from day one! From the very moment we picked Pokemon, damn it! And at the very end of it all!
Yeah, no conversation can end without this guy being interfering.
I took your place as champion! Ha 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 ha. I kicked all their asses. First noob.
Oh, God.
And you can't forget the, by the way, you suck.
Smell you later.
God damn it, Gary Oak!
Yeah, he was a
Oh,
flat.
Blue.
We don't need to say anything more about that.
Yeah, we can just...
That legacy speaks for itself.
That would be an all-night thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
All right. Before we go ahead and end this, I think we just want to just say to the listeners out there,
Holy
It has
shit, you
been
stayed with us for 3 hours.
it has been an amazing experience just following the Pokemon games from the very start. And whether we jumped in since day one, or whether we came back, we jumped in later, or we fell out, then got drawn back in. Pokemon is an icon. It is something that cannot be forgotten, and it is something that we all enjoy and we all bond over.
Oh, yes.
Pokemon is love, Pokemon is life.
Pokemon started out as a crazy idea between two mad Japanese men wanting to create a proper game. What they created was a legacy that's lasted for, and I quote, generations now.
Pokemon is the cornerstone of many of my friendships, relationships, and a major part of my childhood. To this day, I know every single Pokemon typing on sight. And I would actually call myself a professor in this regard now.
Thanks to Pokemon, I managed to meet Legend and Leo.
And
to be honest, I will say this right now, you two were my first true friends.
Aww.
We have been together now for almost 10 years now.
And what got us together was this very thing.
Waiting eagerly for the arrival of the 4th gen of Pokemon brought us together in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And oh god, I miss those days. At least before things went downhill. Anyway.
Oh god.
Yeah.
No need to bring that back up, Zero. Go ahead, Kurt.
With Pokemon, it's always been something that here we thought is a little simplistic, just a very light kind of RPG, and it became one of the biggest franchises in history, up there with Mario. And along with the way, I have never thought this series would last this long, and through it, like you guys, I met other friends, through the card game, to the anime, and video games, and here I am, and I'm glad. I think also because of the obsession with Pokemon, I have met you three, and you guys, along with Moonsy and Yami and Raimo, you guys are also amongst my best friends in the entire world because of that, and I wouldn't want to change that for anything. So I wouldn't want to thank Pokemon at least for that as well.
Same here, man.
Alright, so...
You got any words, Moosey?
I never thought it was going to last this long either. I figured, a few games, these are awesome, but a few games, they'll just give up like most franchises. And it's still going today. It's just amazing to see that, even though they've done the cliche of doing all these different branch-out games, but with this series, it works.
There's so many Pokemon that can serve as mascots and friends and things that people can look up to, be friends with. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if this series lasts for another 20 years.
Well, and if it wasn't for, Pokemon, I wouldn't have seen your type reviews.
And we
Which
wouldn't
led
have
you
gotten a
to
brand new friend.
us?
Yeah.
Oh god,
So-
now I need to redo the Dragon type review. Of course I'm
That's
going to
what
wait till
we
after
actually
Gen
do like
7
a
comes out.
collaboration on type review sometime.
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right. This is Zero Force.
This has been Death Zero.
This is Akara Jaganashi.
This is Moonsy.
And this is Legend Hunter. And celebrating 20 years of Pokemon.
And we'll see you all next time. Take
Hey,
care.
guys.
Huzzah!
And happy Pokemon Day!
Happy Pokemon Day.
What's Pokemon?
Later.
Ciao.
Adios.